All right, today's special guest. I love and hate this guy. The Patriot Killer, the Bone Crusher, Bernard Pollard.
Yeah.
Welcome to the show, brother.
Man, thanks for having me, brother.
Prior to meeting you, someone said, "Hey, Bernard Pollard's here." I'm like, I want to get that guy.
I think a lot of people want to do that, but
I told one of the producers, Ben Eld, who's a Boston guy too. I was like, Bernard Pollard coming on. He's like, dude, the Patriot Killer?
Yeah.
He's like, what the hell? I'm like, hey, he's my neighbor. He's cool. He's like, man, I hated that guy for so long.
I think I'm hated. You know what? So it's funny because a lot of people, and I've run into a lot of New England fans in the airport, and everybody get to talk to me, and then when they ask me my name, they were like, wait a minute, I didn't think you were this cool. And I was like, yeah, I'm a cool dude off the field, you know? But yeah, I'm hated by a lot, you know, but I embrace it.
No, dude, I say it with love. Like if I'm a defensive player on any team, everyone not cheering for my team should hate me.
Yeah. Exactly.
It's like I'm a hockey guy, so Brad Marchand, who played for the Bruins, like mental midget. The guy was a nuisance. Unless he's on your team, you love him. Right. But the minute they traded him to Florida, I'm like, F that guy. He's a nut. Just crazy. But you got to love and respect the guy that's like, I will kill you to win.
Yeah. That's how I am.
And everyone who has ever seen you play would say, he's a nut.
Yeah. So and like I said, I embrace it. I'm not here to be liked. You know what I mean? I came here to do a job.
Yeah.
And I expect to get the job done. And whether you like it or not, I'm going to get your job done. So,
I always tell kids, anyone who hasn't played football, even people who know football, there are certain positions you're not slipping through the cracks.
Oh, yeah.
You can play quarterback and not be tough.
Right.
You can even probably play some receiver positions. Might be able to get away with not getting hit. Running back, linebacker, safety, you're hitting people.
Oh, yeah.
And if you don't, it's going to be very obvious.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So when the kids are playing, like my youngest playing football, I'm like, buddy, there's nowhere to hide there. If you're going to play safety or corner, you have to hit.
Yeah.
And not everyone has it.
Yeah. Well, hey, look, hitting is what I do. Is what I did actually. I should say. I would rather hit than get an interception. I've been yelled at so many times in meetings for not going for the pick to get the offense back on the field. I'm like, oh no, I want to hit a crowd. I want to see him down, groaning and moaning, and I want to see that John Deere come out. That was me all day long.
Well, it's crazy when you think about how the league has evolved from like the 60s, 70s, when you see guys like practically clothesline and you know, one step short of like bringing a friggin' club out on the field.
Oh, they actually had them on their arms, man. So hey, them jokers did it.
Now they've really it feels like they've kind of like knee-jerk reaction gone too far. Sometimes you see like, okay, some helmet-to-helmet hits, you're like, dude, the guy speared him. Like, okay. But sometimes when there's like incidental helmet-to-helmet contact, you're like, dude, how can you possibly have a game that's this fast, this violent, and think that you can, fix my helmet here? Right. Some of them are dirty and you can tell right away. But some of them, when it's incidental, you're like, dude, this is a dangerous game.
Well, I think, you know, when you look at that, it's one of those things where you have to understand my head is connected to my shoulders. I can't move my head out of the way, right? But as you said, if it's malicious, like we can see malicious.
100%.
We understand the intent.
Yeah.
But, you know, a lot of it is, well, when guys go to move, we have a split second to make a decision to dive in a tackle or to explode into a tackle, as we would say. But I look at it too, and I'm like, okay, I understand what they're trying to do, bro. They're trying to keep the moms of the youth. They want to keep them kids because it's dying off. Yeah. Football is dying off at the younger ages. And so if we can show that, hey, we care about the safety, we care about this and care about that, we're going to bring them back to the game. And so that way we have from young age, the kids playing and equipment being sold and people at games and all this other stuff. And so hopefully it helps as they get to middle school, high school, college, and pro. But nevertheless, you know, a lot of those kids that are not playing because of the violence, they weren't ever going to get there anyway.
100%.
So it's just one of those things where I'm looking like, dude, we can't chase things. Don't chase it, because once you start chasing, as you've seen and as other people see, you start destroying the game.
Yeah. You can see a version of that happen with the WNBA right now. They got themselves in a quagmire.
That mess, dude.
That is a mess.
Yes, it's a mess.
They're getting everything they deserve, though. Mm-hmm. I think most people would be shocked, the casual observer, to see up close and personal how fast it's going, to your point, when you have a split second. Like, it's moving so fast, even from high school, college, pros, and we'll talk about the whole evolution of how fast the game gets as you progress. What do you think about the padded helmet covers that they put on top of the helmet?
I'm different. I tell people all the time, you can put anything you want on that helmet. If I want to hit you helmet to helmet and I want your brain to touch your skull, it's going to touch your skull regardless of that pad being on it or not.
Yeah.
And so it's optics.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It could also create false sense of security.
Yeah.
Because like in boxing, they wore headgear in the Olympics for years.
You
And
still
amateurs,
get knocked out.
they don't wear it anymore because you're taking, instead of 3 shots that would knock you out without a headgear, now you're taking 10 that are just on the verge, but are just rattling your brain around and you're getting the shit kicked out of you.
Exactly. Yeah. I'm not a believer in it.
Yeah.
I understand the optics. I understand, hey, the NFL's doing it or some colleges are doing it, like everybody should do it or whatever it may be. But, I'm one of them ones where I'm like, dude, like, it's not going to stop you from getting knocked out.
Yeah.
Fencer pose, unconscious. It's not stopping any of that. So, as I was making fun of my son one day because he came out with it while we were training. I'm looking like, bro, take that off. I'm like, bro, I can't look at you while we're training and you sitting here. I'm like,
because the whole team's wear the Raven, the whole team has them now.
Yeah.
It must be mandatory.
It's not doing anything for the kids at all. And so to me, it's a waste of money.
Yeah.
But if somebody wants to get it to make themselves feel better, by all means, go ahead.
Yeah. Where'd you grow up?
Fort Wayne, Indiana, man.
What was your childhood like?
My childhood was, my father loved football, played football. My mother was church going and just soft. When I say soft, I mean just a beautiful soul.
Yeah.
Still is. I had to, for me, me and my 2 sisters, my mom and my dad going through a divorce at a young age, I had to figure things out fairly quickly.
How old were you when they were getting divorced?
I was probably 4 or 5.
Oh, okay,
and so,
really young.
Yeah, really young. So my father was in the military. I was born in Fayetteville, North Carolina. And when they were going through the divorce, my mom went back to Indiana, and then my dad ended up coming back. But nevertheless, they was going through the divorce, and me and my sisters ended up going with my mom. My father was in another relationship, got in another relationship, and then had other kids. So, I'm 5, 6 sisters, and then a brother, and so I'm for me, I'm not a believer in the 2 households because there's just so many different things happen, right? The rules, what you can do, what you can't do, just the dynamic. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I was just so used to my mom. I'm a mama's boy.
Yeah.
And my father, I love my father. I love him. And he was just different.
Yeah.
And so it's just, going through that, I didn't want to play football. A lot of people always ask me about like, yo, Bernard, like you dreamed about this or whatever. But like my father wanted me to play football and I love learning about football. And I tell people all the time, I'm like, yo, for these kids, I'm at a young age, like I watch Inside the NFL.
Yeah.
I grew up a Bears fan.
Yeah.
And I watched, just all the different films, just how players moved, how they talked, how they played the game, just the intensity that they brought to the game. And that's where I learned. And so football was essentially, because it was a split household. And then when I did have to go with my dad, I played because my dad, he grew me as a quarterback. And once I started to get older, I was just like, I'm playing to stay away from home.
Yeah.
So I play sports to not come home.
Yeah.
And, I never, ever, and I tell people this all the time, I never, ever loved the game of football. I just played it.
Yeah.
I didn't fall in love with the game of football until my 2nd year in the National Football League. So it's just one of those things, man, where I found out I wanted to be like a fireman, a cop. I wanted to do radio. That's what I wanted to do. And so it was easy when I went to Purdue University. I was like, yo, they was like, you want to be a communications major and all this other stuff. And I was just like, what is that?
Yeah.
So I went into that and I was like, that's up my alley.
Yeah.
Because that's what I enjoy. Yeah. Right. And so, dude, like I fell in love with the game. My 2nd year in the National Football League, Herm Edwards is my head coach. And I look back and I'm just like, wow, I literally just played this game to stay away from home and found out I was really good.
Yeah.
Right. And I played basketball. I ran track from Indiana. Everybody plays basketball or whatever. So that's a lot without saying a lot about my upbringing.
I got you.
Because I was caught off guard.
Yeah, that's all right. I had a similar upbringing. My parents were divorced. My father would come and get me only to take me to sports. And, it was like that's how I got kind of approval from him. And for a long time, at a young age, I was much better than the other kids at hockey. And then eventually they caught up. We're pretty even going into high school. And then just the other kids just accelerated. And I was like, why am I not getting better? I'm doing the same things. I just didn't have the same talent level. It was very difficult. And when hockey eventually ended, I became addicted to drugs and went through a rough patch. And it was a painful period in my life. But nevertheless, in high school, you were playing basketball and track. What was your event in track?
Track, I was long jump, 100, 200, 4x1. And was really good. And, as I was playing football, obviously I played football and played basketball. So playing football as I got older, I was 160 pounds my freshman year. Yeah. And then I went to like 179 my sophomore year, and then 180. So
were you lifting?
Yes. So my father and them, they were bodybuilders.
Okay.
They had a gym.
Yep.
So my uncle, my dad, they all lift weights. My dad played linebacker, played running back. My uncle played linebacker and running back. And so I was always around weights. Yeah. So, lifting and everything else was essential. It was a must, but at the same time, getting that weight, I wasn't able to keep my speed because it was just one of those things where I was just getting bigger and everybody else was smaller that I was running against, right? So those were the events. I went to state every year in high school. I loved it. I enjoy running. I hated the training, but just the one-on-one in that lane, competing with myself, but competing with others at the same time was just so much fun.
When you were coming out of high school, were you recruited to play basketball, track, and football, or was it always just football? Like, at what point in high school were you like a superstar in high school? Were they like, holy shit, this kid's going Division I? Like, what was? Paint the picture for me.
So it's funny because I think I might have gotten 3 or 4 offers in high school for basketball. For track, I got about 10 to 12 offers.
And they're much more rare, right? Because in track, you got so many kids on the team, half a scholarship for you, quarter. So what schools were looking at you?
In track, it's smaller school. I had Ball State, had a couple smaller schools when it came to track and basketball, but football, everybody was after me. I was one of those ones where, as I said before, when I played football, I played to stay away from home. Yeah. I took I was a wild man on the field because I didn't know how to deal with my anger. Yeah. So the football field was where I released it. I wasn't a kid who got in trouble. We had fun in high school. I was there every day. I did what I was supposed to do, but I had anger. And whether it was from my mom or my dad, whether I felt my mom didn't do enough to keep us because she had moved to Atlanta with GTE, who Verizon Wireless bought over, and they ended up in Atlanta. But the court system taking us from my mom to go to my dad, and then just the dynamics of my dad's house, and it was just one of those things where I'm like, what do I do with this? So stepping on the football field, I just remember one day, and I believe it was in practice, somebody ran a route, and I tell my son this, I tell other athletes this all the time, like, your teammates are your teammates. You have got to take care of them. But I remember in practice one day, I hit somebody so hard, and I just remember feeling that relief, and I was just like, well, I'm gonna try this in a game. And I remember, I think it was my sophomore year, because I was a hard hitter, but my sophomore year is where I kind of took off. And I played corner and safety, and somebody ran around, and I hit a guy so hard he peed on himself. Oh my God. He was on the ground we saw the pee coming through his pants. Yeah. And I just remember, I was just like, that's what I want all the time. And that fed me. That literally fed me. And so my anger was through pads. When I laced them up, when I put the helmet on, I was going to make somebody feel my pain. Yeah. And every game, I would put 2 to 3 people out a game. And so, you had where IU, Purdue, then you had Alabama, you had all kinds of schools. They're seeing it, and now they're contacting my coaches, and I'm looking like, I'm just doing this.
Look, I wear a lot of gear. Most of it I don't talk about. Roca, however, I will talk about. And here's why. I don't put anything on my face that can't keep up with me. on a run, out in the sun all day. If it slips, if it fogs, if I have to think about it, it's gone. Roka doesn't slip. They build performance eyewear, ultralight titanium frames, lenses that are sharp, polarized, dialed in. And the no-slip grip locks in hotter the more you sweat. That's not a lifestyle brand pretending to be performance. That's the real thing. And I've got several. This is my running pair. These I wear all the time. And at night, I'm in their wind-down glasses. Off screens, actually wind down, actually sleep. My good friend Andrew Huberman designed these with Roka, so you know they're good. I also wear prescription glasses like the ones you see me wearing now. And Roka can do that for you too. These are premium and give you incredible value at the same time. If you're looking for a pair of cheap sunglasses that you can scratch up and don't care if you leave them behind, Roka is definitely not for you. However, if you care about performance, what you put on your face, and quality, premium products, Roka's the perfect pair. That's my test for anything. Do I actually reach for it? I reach for these. Roka's whole thing is unlocking human potential, equipping the people who refuse to settle for good enough. That's the other side of hard. That's this whole show. So if you want eyewear that performs as hard as you do, go to Roka.com and use code RIDEOUT for 20% off. Again, that's code RIDEOUT for 20% off at Roka.com. Roka, get after it. Boom. How was your high school? Did you have a good team?
We were okay. We competed. We had 13 to 15 high schools in Fort Wayne, Indiana.
Oh, wow.
And so, so we competed. We were 4A, if I'm not mistaken. We were a 4A school. We will lose to Homestead, who was a big powerhouse school.
It was big-time football like Ravenwood here. And so everyone's good. There's multiple kids going D1.
Oh, yeah. So we had multiple kids D1. We got quite a few kids in the NFL from Fort Wayne. So the feeder system there it's amazing. And you look now, I think they've kind of shrunk down. I think it's probably 8 to 10 high schools now. They've shut down a couple, but they're traveling now out of town to play teams. Yeah. So that's what it was. You know what I mean? Like that was my escape, and that's how I ended up going to college and playing football.
When you were going through this, did you understand at the time like where the anger was coming from?
I knew I was mad about situations with my mom and my dad.
Yeah.
How my dad treated my mom and what the court system was doing. I knew I was angry. I didn't know how to voice it.
Yeah.
My father was a big time, why you crying? And I'm like that in a sense where it was like, why you crying?
Yeah.
And I'm like, so I never cried. There's very few times where I can tell you I've cried.
Yeah.
Because I'm not an emotional person. I just get angry.
Yeah.
And so I didn't know how to deal with it. And so with my father, it was just, I never talked to him about that. My father and I didn't have the relationship where, like now, I talked to him the other day. We just was talking and he said, I love you, right? And I said, I love you back, right? Like, but growing up, it wasn't that. My mom was in Atlanta, so she was doing everything she could to try to help and to do whatever. But, I just knew I wanted to be with my mom. But then at the same time, my mom always asked me, she's like, Bernard, why don't you come to Atlanta a lot? Why don't you come to Georgia? And I'm like, Mom, that's the place that broke us apart.
Yeah.
When you accepted the job, that broke our family apart.
Yeah.
And so, and it's crazy because I could feel myself getting emotional, right? But it was just one of those things like where it was like, man, like for that, because of that, it was like I was I won't say created, but it created something in me.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So counselors, we ain't believe in that. Talking to people, emotions, we ain't believe in that. You just held it in and go about your day.
The reason I ask is because I had a similar situation. My parents were divorced, and like at the time, you're like, I'm a kid. This is like everyone has their own trials and tribulations. But now when we look back at it, I'm like, oh my God, what a fucking disaster. Yeah. And I think like our children, seeing how both of us grew up and seeing how our kids are living now would be like, I always think I was talking to a therapist once. I went to this place called On-Site Workshops, like a trauma healing center, like a 4 or 5 day thing. Actually, I was with Eric Decker. That's where I met him. We were roommates. I tell everyone I met him at a psych ward, and the woman said, "You had trauma." I'm like, not out of the ordinary. You know, I had like normal childhood. And she's like, "What if your children had to deal with any of the shit you did?" And I just like started crying. I was like, they could never handle this. She's like, they would. Just like you did. Kids are resilient. She's like, they'd just be carrying the same shit you're carrying. But she's like, it's naive to think that they wouldn't survive and they wouldn't figure it out. You did. Right. But I said, I also have a brother who's 11 months younger, who's a career criminal, who's a lifelong heroin addict, never had a job, never went to school past 9th grade, and in and out of prison.
Right.
Same situation. We just went different routes.
Right.
I just, from the youngest age, was like, I'm not supposed to be here. The only thing I can control is how I interpret what they're doing to me. And I'm just going to use that as fuel to get out of here. So that's what sports was the only thing that I could control.
Right.
And that's why when it ended, I was like, this is not how I envisioned this ending. I was supposed to play in the NHL. And I was like, I'm not even close. I'm doing drugs and fucking in jail.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's interesting when I talk to my kids about my own childhood and try to like put it in perspective. And it's hard not to get angry at them when they like, I come home and there's like 4 basketballs in the driveway and I got to get out to get them before I park. And I'm like, guys, I am going to take these balls and kick them onto Crockett Road. I'm sick and tired of it. I had 1 basketball my entire life. I took care of it like it was like a gold bar. You guys have all these basketballs. You can't even be bothered to put, there's a rack.
Right.
And it just drives me insane. And my wife's like, you got to pick your battles. And I'm like, I want to fight them all.
My wife's the same way, and I'm the same way. I'm like, but no, I mean, I've learned.
By the way, we'll talk about your wife, but I absolutely love her respectfully. She's so beautiful. She's like, I love talking to her. She's like a breath of fresh air every time I see her.
She's awesome.
So coming out of high school, you get Purdue. What other schools were you considering?
So I actually, to be honest, I committed to IU. I wanted to stay in Indiana. I wanted to stay close to my mother's family. And I mean, my father, I wanted him to be around.
Yeah.
I wanted him to be there. So I picked IU. Me and my dad, we went on a visit, and they had just hired Jerry DiNardo out of LSU. So he's there at IU, and we go to a basketball game. I think it was Assembly Hall, and I was just like, I told my dad, I was like, Dad, I'm about to commit. I was like, I want to be here.
Isn't it for a high school kid going to see a Division I school?
Right.
You're just like, this is real.
I loved it.
It's like Disney for a kid who's an athlete.
I absolutely loved it. And so I was just like, I was like, Dad, I'm gonna come in here. He was like, hey, you might want to think about this. He was like, this is a new head coach. He was like, they haven't had a lot of success here, but I was like, well, Dad, I'm gonna come in and I'm going to be here for 3 years. I'm not thinking about that, right? Yeah. So he was like, just hold off. So that was a great.
And that was the first school you'd seen?
That was the first school as far as me, going. So I went to Michigan State. I went to Michigan. I knew I did not want to go to Michigan with Lloyd Carr. I knew I didn't want to go to Michigan State. That's when they just finished with T.J. Duckett was there, and they were doing some great things there. And then I ended up going to Purdue. I went to a Purdue game. They played Ohio State. I was supposed to go to Ohio State, I think was the next week. We had just lost a playoff game my senior year. They flew me on a private plane straight out of high school. I'm musty as all get out. Yeah. They go put me on a private plane, and we fly from Muncie. We played Muncie Southside. I flew from Muncie to West Lafayette. And I get to the hotel. My dad ended up driving to Purdue. I shower up and we go to the game the next day.
By the way, had you ever been on a plane before? You got on a private plane?
I've been on a plane before because I was traveling back and forth to school with my mom, but never a private. But it was more Greyhound.
Like private plane.
Right.
I still get like that if I'm lucky enough to get on a private plane. I'm like taking pictures, selfies, like a freaking nerd.
Of course, we had that back then, but it was just one of those things. I'm like, and it was more or less one time that I cried knowing I would never, ever play with my high school teammates again. I bawled like a baby on the football field, right? But then they had to hurry up and rush me to the airport to get on a plane. And so it didn't even dawn on me, like, it didn't even hit me.
Yeah.
I'm on a private plane by myself to go to Purdue University, right? And so we flew there, like I said, I showered, and we go to Purdue, and Coach Tiller, him and all the other coaches. So we sitting there and bro, when I say it was almost like I was at home. Like I felt good with the guys that I was talking to, all the recruits, like we all are still cool. So my class that was there, and Purdue ended up losing at the last second. They threw a fade, and I won't ever forget that. Threw a fade, and so Purdue loses the game. We went out that night. I kicked it, chilled, and the next day I was just like, this is where I want to be. And so I ended up committing to Purdue. And I went to college with a plan. I was like, I'm going with a plan. I know I'm going to be here for 3 years. And that's what it was.
So you were just going to get your degree in 3 years, or you planned on playing 3 years and going to the league?
So I planned on playing 3 years and going to the league. I always my
even coming out of high school, you were like, I'm going to the league.
So I don't know if y'all did it, but in 8th grade we had to do time capsules. So we had to write what we were going to be in. Like, I think it was like 5 years or whatever it was. We had to, you take it, you put it in the thing, and you bury it. Yeah. So at the end of graduation, your senior year, you would come back and dig it up. Yeah. So mine said I was going to be, because like I said, I was groomed as a quarterback. Mine said I was going to be the starting quarterback for Florida State University, stay there 3 years and get drafted in the first round. Nice. So I was at Purdue University playing safety, stayed for 3 years. I got drafted in the second round by the Kansas City Chiefs. So it was just one of those things where, I thank God, because I'm like, dude, and I wish I can get that. So they told me one of the girls that we went to high school or 8th grade, middle school and high school with, she got it and she won't give it back. So give me my stuff back. But nevertheless, it's amazing. But yeah, so I was there. I did not graduate. I went to summer school every year. So I'm still off as far as from graduating. I can go back and do it, and I'm reluctant to do it. Yeah,
do it, man.
I know.
Look, I need a college degree next to this Super Bowl ring. Do it for the kids.
The ring I've never worn before.
No, I know. Now I know you didn't wear it. I'm gonna borrow it. Put some tape on the inside so it fits, and I wear it. What was it like compared to high school? What was it like when you get to Purdue? Like, I'm a big gear guy. I love the shoes, the T-shirts. Was it like free for all? Like, because they got a probably big endowment. Yeah. Purdue's got money, and that's a good academic school. How was it coming from like Fort Wayne, you're coming in there and you're like, oh my God, look at all the swag. Because I always think about kids going to Oregon. Mm-hmm. Imagine the kids going to Oregon, like, give me all those Jordans and player exclusives. What was it like when you rocked up there the freshman year?
So, and this is a God's honest truth, I don't even know who took me to Purdue. I don't know who dropped me off. I don't remember it. Because
it must have been in July, right? Because you go to a training camp.
I got dropped off because I took summer classes. So I was there right when I graduated. I think I was gone maybe a week or so after. I don't know who took me.
How were your academics in high school? I forgot to ask you.
So my freshman year, I played around, bullcrapped around. My sophomore, bullcrapped around the first semester of my sophomore year, and a guy named Eddie Nolan, he's like a father to me. He literally would beat me with he had a billy club. And so he would chase me around and was like, Bernard, you are going to be here. You're going to do what you need to do. And he just, it's like he was just on me.
This is at Purdue or in high school?
This is in high school.
Okay, good.
So, playing around my freshman year, going into my sophomore year, the second semester or the second half of my sophomore year, I just got it together. And I just started doing what I was supposed to do. And so I ended up finishing with I'm not proud of it, but a I finished with a 2.8, 2.9. So
good enough to get into Purdue. Purdue's an academic
academic school. Yeah. I scored I think I scored a 1,100, I believe it was, on my SAT. So, I did all of that. And I did so I thank Coach Nolan, I thank Coach Pruitt, because they literally beat me. They would pull me aside if I got in trouble. One of them will be holding me, the other one will be punching me, and not for
of course.
But they made sure I felt it, but they loved on me. Yeah. And so me and Coach still laugh about that. I talk to him almost every day. Really? So we still laugh about that. But nevertheless, so I end up at Purdue. I don't know who dropped me off. As soon as I took my bag out the car, I stepped on the sidewalk and I said, so I'm going to be here 3 years. And I'm gonna do what I need to do. I'm gonna be here 3 years and I'm getting out. And so when I got there, man, it was my grades. I was showing up to class. I was doing what I was supposed to do. But I knew I was focused. I had a plan. And I was not gonna let anybody mess that up. I was gonna start as a true freshman. And I did. I started all the way to my junior year and I declared for the draft.
Damn. Mm-hmm. How was the team?
So people don't understand how good Purdue was. My freshman year, we were really good. We had 9 players, I believe it was, get drafted from that defense.
Really?
And I mean, Purdue, they call Purdue DNU for a reason. Yeah. They produce defensive ends. Sean Phillips, You know, I mean, oh my gosh, Rob Nikovic, so many dudes. And Rob, a Patriots dude. Yeah. So, you know, but we've had a lot of success. My sophomore year, we were ranked fourth in the nation.
Wow.
We ended up losing to freaking Wisconsin because Kyle just didn't slide instead of trying to dive. Oh my gosh.
Who was the quarterback?
Kyle Orton. So Kyle Orton played for the Bears. I think he was drafted by the Bears. Yeah. All he had to do was slide. The game was won. All he had to do was slide. He tried to jump and dive, lost the ball. They ran it back for a touchdown. We ended up losing the game. And
poor bastard.
Yeah, man. So we lost that. My junior year, we were okay, but I knew I was gone. I was gone, and my head coach didn't like that.
What was the biggest difference from coming from high school to college? Speed
of the game, size of the players.
What about the knowledge, like the play calling, the intricacies, the misdirections, like the schemes, offensive and defensive schemes?
So a lot of people don't understand. I tell high schools all the time, I'm looking like, yo, like you have got, and that's why I'm a stickler with this. And a lot of guys, when my son was in high school, didn't like this. Yeah. But I didn't care what you didn't like because I'm my son's father, and I've been through it. I want him to understand what it's going to be like, right? So for me, leaving high school, we had 3 defensive calls. Yeah. Going to Purdue, we had 35 defensive calls, and we had adjustments.
That's why I ask, because it's intense. It's it's probably more intense than your academics, right?
Right. Yeah.
The studies every week.
They didn't play
every single week. There's a new scheme.
Yep. So we had to change stuff up. We had to, do different things. But so
learn their whole playbook and understand all this shit. That guy's in motion. Use shift. Oh yeah. You know what I mean? Or that guy's going, oh, they tricked us. They And the defense is probably running.
Like, he tricked us. That's crazy. But no, that's what it is. I mean, and so I went from 3 plays to 35 or more plays. Yeah. And, for me, I was just like, you know what? Like, I knew who I was as a player. Yeah. I was hard-nosed. I'm going to pursue everything, and if you come in my area, I'm gonna knock the piss out of you. And so, I was just a hard-nosed player. I didn't care. If you buck, I buck too. Yeah. And so, the coaches loved it, the players loved it, and Purdue, we had another safety in Stuart Swigert he was a middle field safety who would intercept anything out of the air. Yeah. They wanted to bring on a hammer. Yeah. They needed a hammer. Yeah. And I'm like, that's who I am. Yeah. And so, from our freshman year, I would dog walk you. And I was trying to see, like I said, see that John Deere come out and pick you up.
I always tell my youngest son when he's playing, I'm like, buddy, if you're going to make a mistake, go 100 miles an hour. And when you close on that ball, you got to close quick. Oh, yeah. Don't give him a chance to brace and run you over because he's going to try. You got to get there in a hurry. Shock him with the closing speed.
Yeah, exactly. Closing distance.
I'm sure you understand this, but I just get too intense when I'm watching him. I'm like, I wish I was out there just so it wouldn't be on him. I'm like, you know what I mean? You just want so badly for them to be successful. Yeah. And I know you know that because I've seen you coaching your son from the sidelines.
That's bad.
How did the high school coaches, we'll come back to this, how did the high school coaches at Ravenwood react to you coaching him from the sidelines? Because I would see you at halftime, coaching him up, like, hey, do this, do that. And they'd be talking over here, and I'd see your son over there talking to you, and I'd be like, oh man, I wonder how this is going over.
I mean, to be honest, I didn't care.
I know you didn't. They ever say hey, kind of let us coach, or were they just like, do your thing?
No, well, because one of the biggest things is I coached my son all the way up to his 9th grade year. Yeah, I wanted my son. I wanted to be a father and just watch him play, right? Yeah. Because I coached him. He's been around football since he was born. Yeah, and and from me coaching him from a young age, from 707 to Blaze to Sunset and then letting him go in middle school or in high school, I just wanted to be able to be like, okay, let me just watch. Yeah. So his freshman year, I'm in the stands, I'm watching, and I'm just like, this isn't done right. Yeah. And I loved his freshman coach. And I say this with all due respect, and I want people to understand I'm not coming from a bad place when I say this. Right. 99% of football coaches are teachers first. Right. They're not football coaches. They're teachers first. That's what pays the bills. Football coaches, when you are a football coach, you bring in the extra stipend or whatever to, pay the bills. I say that with all due respect. Yeah. I told Ravenwood, I was a football player. I don't live in the corporate. I'm not in the corporate world. Yeah. I didn't network. I don't work in the corporate world. I don't do that. Right. Yeah. And, you know, so after during his freshman year, I tried to go and talk to the coach, and I'm like, hey, man, you know, I'm seeing it with the freshman team, but I'm also seeing it with the varsity team. There's a lot of mistakes happening here. Football isn't taught right. And, you know, I know a lot of people look at Ravenwood and look at teams that are having success and like, oh, greatness is happening. Like the coaches them are teaching them and this and that. Well, sometimes, you know, the teams you're playing are just bad.
Yeah. And you also got some natural athletes.
Right. You just got
some
athletes.
kids.
You got more athletes. So when I got 160 kids on the sideline compared to their 30.
Yeah.
And they all going both ways, and they're limited with the guys that can bring in. And I got a plethora of kids over here I could pick from that ain't gonna tire out. I mean, at the end of the day, I'm just laying weight on them.
Why didn't they ever ask you to come on and like join as a volunteer assistant coach?
I know too much. So
that could be very threatening to someone.
So it's very threatening. So
this is a high enough level that these guys take it seriously. Like this is real high school football.
A lot of them they feel entitled to the player. Yeah. And so with me, I have never cursed a kid. I will never curse a kid. I've never put my hands on a kid. We'll never, ever do that, right? And so, but I am very stern. I know. And I understand what it takes to get something done. I understand how to teach it, to coach it, and develop it. Yeah. A lot of coaches can't do that. Yeah. And so, you know, for them, that was threatening because they know if Bernard comes in, first of all, he's going to check us on what we don't know. That's right. He's going to teach them what they don't know. And then we're going to lose them to him. Mm-hmm. So let's not bring them in. Yeah. So from that point on, I said, okay, well, here I go. I told Jalen, I said, look, man, I'm going to be in the stands. We're going to be here every single game. Be right here. Yeah. And I'm going to be right behind the defensive bench. So when you come off the field, I'm giving you your adjustments. You know, I would not let him work out with the weight room, with the coaches, because at the end of the day, I know what's going to sustain him throughout the year. Yeah. I don't need him lifting his heavy weight and getting hurt. With them, you always got a lot of players getting hurt. Yeah. And when you look at that, you need to look directly at the strength coach. I'm not doing that. Mm. So his 4 years, he's never lifted with them. He would be there. I told the coaches, look, he's going to be here. He's not working out with y'all, but he's going to be here to support his teammates while they work out. Yeah. I could not. I know what he wanted. And he said, Dad, I want to play in college. Yeah. I want a chance to try to play in the National Football League. So if my son is telling me that, who am I to deny him everything that I know and everything that I've learned? And I had to do it. They did not like it, but they couldn't stop it. You know, one of the biggest things that pisses me off more than anything, because I got the itch to coach high school football, and there were opportunities that came along, but then I was lied on and said I was arrested at a game when I've never been arrested. Let alone at a game.
Who said you were arrested?
The former head coach.
Oh, my God.
So he doesn't even know I know. So this is the first time I've ever said anything about it.
Oh, my God.
Because when I found out, I was heading directly up to Ravenwood to put hands on him. My wife called me and said, Bernard, do not do that because you're going to go to jail. Yeah. And so, you know, it was said that I was arrested at Ravenwood during a football game. And it said that, so I was put on a do not hire list. So I was put on a do not hire list for Williamson County and for Metro.
Jeez.
Well, why Metro? Yeah. Why Metro? Because you know Williamson County teams play Metro. Yeah. So you didn't want me hired in Metro or Williamson County. So now you lied on me, blackballed me, and tarnished my name. Yeah. Well, I could have went further and did some things, but I knew my son still is in high school. Yeah. He was going into his junior year of high school. So for me, I was just like, man, like, I'm going to coach him. I don't care what nobody say. They had people record me at games, taking it back to the coach, saying this and saying that, saying how I was disrespectful. I'm looking like I wasn't disrespectful. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, but, you know, I'm glad my son's done. I'm glad he's done.
You know, when you're talking about football coaches, when you see someone who's really knows how to coach. Like I think of as an example, like John Gruden. Mm-hmm. You hear John Gruden talk football, you're like, this guy's a savant. Yep. He doesn't care about anything but football. Yep. When he tells the quarterback, what's this play right here? Let me hear you play. What's your adjustment? Yep. What's this? I'm going to call a something waggle Z thing. And he's like, what's that? What's happening there? And he's like, okay, this guy's in motion. I'm like, geez, I played quarterback and I'm already lost. Yeah. But that's an example of someone who you hear him talk and you're like, oh, yeah, that's a football coach. Yeah. Versus someone who's like, here's the 6 gap. You're going to run it up here. I'm like.
Or go over there.
Yeah.
So what is go over there?
Or they tricked us.
Yeah. Diabolical.
Most guys have 2 options with skincare. Do nothing or go down some 10-step rabbit hole they'll quit in a week? I wanted a third option. Wild Roman built a face routine around one question. Will a guy keep doing this? 3 products, not 10, face wash, face serum, and face moisturizer. No parabens, no sulfates, no phthalates, just grass-fed tallow instead of the synthetic stuff because it's close to what your skin already makes on its own. Here's the whole routine. Wash your face, a couple drops of serum, warm the moisturizer between your hands and work it into your face and neck. 2 minutes, same amount of thought as brushing your teeth. Right now, it's Wild Roman's biggest offer of the year. The full 3-product routine, normally $164, is now just $99 for new customers. I've spent more than that on one product that barely did anything. Wild Roman, built for men who'd rather keep it simple. Get the $99 face routine at wildroman.com. Again, that's wildroman.com. All right, so you get to Purdue, you're coming out of in your junior year. When do you make the decision? How does it work? Like you just to say, like tell a coach, like, hey, I'm declaring for the draft. Does an agent come sniffing around? What happens?
So, yeah, we had agents coming around. So a lot of people don't know, I actually, going into my junior year, that summer I worked out with Deion Sanders in Dallas.
How was that?
It was amazing. So, Eugene Parker, who was from Fort Wayne, Indiana, he set it up because he was Deion's agent. So Eugene, obviously, I'm from Fort Wayne. Eugene, Fort Wayne. So he connected it to where I went out there. I stayed with a cousin of Deion's, and we literally every day I was with Deion. Deion went and got lunch. I went and got lunch. Deion went to the field and trained. I went and trained with Deion. So Deion would always call me Big Fella.
Yeah.
So he would be like, Big Fella, let's go. And I'm in the van with him. In the truck with him. I was at his house, all the kids running around, Shador, all them.
And what year is this?
So this was 2005, going into 2005. Yep.
Is he still playing?
Yep, he was playing with Baltimore, if I wasn't mistaken. He's playing with Baltimore, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, so yeah.
Talk about an athlete, man.
Dude, he was, to watch him, and I respect him so much. And I don't ever bring this up. I don't ever talk about it. This is the first time I'm talking about it, but me being around him taught me so much. The way he carried himself in Prosper, Texas, the way we would get done working out, we went right to, he would go to a little restaurant or whatever. I'm talking about little mom and pop. We'll go in and just greeted every single body, loved on them. We ate lunch, ate dinner, whatever it may be. I watched him take other kids in. I watched it. Yeah. So when Deion says some of the things he say, I know he ain't lying.
He's got the good energy. He's happy. The guy's happy all the time. And when you're happy all the time, you know what happens? People hate you.
Oh, yeah.
No one wants to see anyone else happy.
Oh, yeah.
Unless you're also a happy person. Right. So he attracts the right kind of people. And like, even being in Colorado, the guy took so much hate and wanting to coach his kids. He was basically like similar to you. He's like, I'm coaching my own kids, even if I have to chase his ass into the NFL.
Yep.
Right? He's like with Shador.
Yep.
The problem is when you're like that involved, it really puts a target on Shador for a lot of the haters and people wanting to like see him fail, and it like adds a lot of pressure to him.
Yeah, but the way Deion raised them, they were built for that.
That's true.
Built for that.
Deion was asking for all the heat. He wanted all the smoke.
I want it. Yeah. I want it all, and that's that same thing I do for my son.
Yeah,
you everything that's on your back. If they chasing you, that means you're doing some good.
That's right.
But you turn around and you tear their behind up.
That's right.
So yeah.
All right. So you're training with him coming in between your sophomore and junior year?
Yeah, so I'm training with Deion.
So junior year cracks on to now. You're like, man, I've been with the NFL guys. I'm killing everyone. Yeah. What happens? Who do you talk to about the age? Like, how's it go? What's the course of action?
I mean, so after my junior year, literally right after we play IU, I think we ended up losing to IU. We didn't go to a bowl game because we went to some bowl my second year. Didn't go to a bowl game my junior year. I left immediately.
Left the whole campus.
I left the campus. I left
training,
and I started training. I went to Orlando, Florida, and I started training with Tom Shaw. So Tom Shaw was in Orlando. I started training with him right after, I think it was November 27th or 28th, I believe it was. I was there I was in Orlando from November all the way to March or April.
Where were you living? Just condo?
So yeah, we were in, and I can't, it's either Kissimmee or Kissimmee. I'll say whichever one it is. We were living, we had all the players, we were all there. We had an apartment, and Jay Cutler, me and Jay Cutler was super cool. And so he was bumming rides all the time. Yeah. But that was my boy, me, him, Greg, just so many of us out there working. We just worked our butt off. And I think all of us were invited to the combine, went to the combine. I had an agent in Joe Siegel, ended up firing him.
How come?
And I felt like we were different, in the way that he communicated, the way he carried himself. I didn't know much coming out, right? Sending the fax to the head coach, you had to send a fax to the head coach, letting him know you weren't returning your senior year, letting him know you were declaring. And when I sent my fax to Coach Tiller, they immediately banned me from campus, said if I ever came back.
Why didn't you call him or go talk to him face to face?
So that was the way that things went. If you declare, you send a fax to the school.
Just for like a paper trail, but couldn't you be like, I'm sending the fax, but I'm coming to see you just to like.
So, let me give you a little context. So going into my junior year, Coach Tiller and I fell out.
Oh, okay.
We fell out, and he was like a father to me, the first white man to tell me he loved me.
Yeah.
And I truly believe it. I mean, Coach Tiller.
When you were growing up, were there a lot of white kids on your team?
We did have a lot of white kids on
So it was
our
like
team.
pretty mixed?
Yeah, so I mean, we had white, black, Hispanic,
like an
Vietnamese,
inner city thing.
Yeah,
like
I'm a city boy.
Socioeconomically, it was like
we got
lower
everything.
middle class, upper middle class.
Oh, lower. So I mean, we from Bosnian to everything is in Fort Wayne, and so I always grew up around everybody. My grandmother babysat white kids, so and so. Me seeing somebody different made it didn't affect me at all because I saw it.
Yeah.
But going to Purdue, it was one of those things where Coach Tiller, when I heard a white man say, I love you, I'm looking like, oh, snaps. Because I didn't so much get close enough like that.
Yeah.
To hear those words. Everything was, if I saw my teammates' dads, them, oh, they were cool. Hey, Bernard, what's up? We would go to a house or whatever it may be. But to get close enough to say, I love you, that was like, oh, snaps. But then I saw it. I knew he did.
Yeah.
So I tell people all the time, I don't question if that was true.
Yeah.
I do. We got into it going into my junior year. So
what about?
It was going to the camp.
Because when you two people really have love for each other, you're like, hey, Bernard, what the fuck are you doing? I'm pissed at you. And you can say, I'm pissed at you. And eventually you're like, let's just agree to disagree. But this love is still there.
So we had a steak and beans scrimmage.
Yeah.
And so it was first team offense versus first team defense. And it was intense. So we looking like, bro, we not eating beans. We eating steak tonight. So I never had steak until I got to college. What? I didn't know what steak was. Bro, we didn't know what steak was. You know what I mean? Like, bro, had no idea. Yeah. So going into my junior year, we got to scrimmage and they hand the ball off. And so I'm inserting, we in a buzz. I'm inserting, and the running back didn't even get to his old lineman. I hit him so hard and so fast. Yeah. And Coach Tiller said first down. And it was like they needed 1 yard, 4 for 1. Yeah. And we all sitting there like, what? And Coach Till's an offensive minded coach or whatever. So I'm looking like, oh, heck no. Yeah. I'm like, no, that was turnover on downs. He never even touched the line of scrimmage. Yeah. So Coach was like, first down. And we all sitting there like, no, bro, you cheating. Yeah. So we're sitting there, me and him. He was just like, I said first down. So I said it's not a first down. So we went back and forth, and he was just like, he said, you know what? Get the heck off my field. And I said, screw it. I took my pads off, threw them, and I said, give me my papers, and saying I was going to transfer. Yeah. So I had to walk, a long walk. So we about a little over half a mile from where we practice at to the locker room, to Monikoff. So I walked back. He banned me from the media for 8 weeks. So banned me from the media for 8 weeks.
You realize in hindsight you were being childish, right?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Oh, yes. And so...
Because that's something I would do and then be like, why am I such an idiot? I got to control myself.
Yeah. And that was the first time me and him, that has ever happened between us. Yeah. And I tell people all the time, Coach Tiller, like, I was a freshman. Coach Tiller didn't allow anybody. He would allow Stuart Swiger, the other safety. Yeah. Coach Tiller allowed me in his office... I mean, which he knew I had a hard-nosed coach in Phil O'Mation, the defensive back coach, who cussed me out every single day, before practice, after practice, pre-game, post-game. Yeah. during the game, he cussed me out. And I remember asking Coach Phil on Nation, I was like, why? Why did you talk to me like that?
Yeah.
He was like, dude, I did it because I knew who you were. He was like, I know what you, he was like, Bernard, you are a thumper.
Yeah.
He was like, you can do things that I've never seen people do.
Yeah.
He was like, so I needed to keep you motivated. And he ended up leaving. So then, Coach Anarumo ended up coming in, who was totally opposite of Phil on Nation. But nevertheless, Coach Killer and I, man, that happening, I was just like, dude, like, I should have went to him and talked it out. But I thank God that I got an opportunity right before he died. I think it was 4 or 5 years ago, maybe. Yeah. And him and I talked, and he said, Bernard, I'm sorry. Yeah. And I just cried like a baby on the phone. Yeah. And I said, Coach, I'm sorry.
I was going to say earlier when you said, like, I don't really cry, I'm like, this guy's full of shit. This is a sensitive guy right here I'm looking at.
I am very sensitive, so I had to learn. I had to learn. Like, my wife would be like, Bernard, like, you can't be cutthroat. You can't be a hard butt all the time. Yeah. And so after I gave my life to Christ, man, I was just like, dude, like, I got to be emotional. Yeah. Because if I'm this hard-hearted person all the time, man, I'm like, I can't, people can't see the love of Christ through me, right? And I can't, not showing those emotions is going to cut people off. Yeah. And so, I've tried to be more emotional. Now, I just can't just cry to cry.
No, of course.
But, you know what I mean? Like, it's got to take something for me to cry.
No, I see, because I see a lot of the same qualities in you that I see in myself. Yeah. Like, someone has a problem, like, we're going to give them a problem. Yeah. But if you see someone getting hurt, you're the first one to, like, jump on, like, yo, what's going on over here? You know what I mean? Yep. My wife would be like, why are you getting involved? I'm like, no. If there's an injustice going on here, I can't ignore it. She'd be like, why do you have to get involved? I'm like, that guy's been cutting people in the airport line for years. Today it stops. Buddy, you see us over here? She'd be like, don't say anything. I'm like, no. Not on my watch.
Oh, yeah. All day.
And she'd be like, you're a hypocrite. You just did the same thing to someone else. I'm like, well, that's my problem.
Right.
All right, so you send the fax. Yeah. Is he pissed?
He's pissed.
Okay.
And once again, we still have not communicated. I left campus. So I didn't even tell him. I just sent him a fax. Yeah. And so they sent me a letter saying if him and the AD, Morgan Burke, sent me a fax that said, if you come back to campus, we're going to have you arrested for trespassing.
Well, that was childish by them.
Yeah. So my pro day was across from Malakoff. So where Malakoff was, there was a high school. I think it was West Lafayette High School, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. So West Lafayette High School, my pro day was outside on their field, 13-degree weather. 18 teams came to watch me. I had to run. I had to do everything. My pro day. So me and Ray Edwards were the only 2 juniors. Yeah. Now, Ray Edwards declared for the draft, was drafted by the Atlanta Falcons. Yeah. He was able to go and do his pro day in the indoor at Malakoff. I was the only one. So a few of my teammates came over there and watched and just supported. But I didn't understand it. And I was young.
Yeah, of course.
I was drafted at 20.
Yeah.
So I was just like, dude, like, why are you cutting me off from being with my teammates? Yeah. And I gave you blood, sweat, and tears here. Yeah. And, gave you everything that I had, and I didn't understand. But like I said, it was just one of those things where, for me, that built animosity between me and Purdue. Yep. Because I could tell you, I've been back to Purdue maybe twice.
That's it?
Since leaving.
Oh, man, that sucks.
My junior year, I've only been back twice.
That's sad. Yeah. So, I want you to bring your kids there and have them be like, oh, dude, it's Bernard Pollard. What the?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's crazy. But like I said, I thank God that I got opportunity to communicate with Coach Tiller. Yeah. Obviously, they've had multiple head coaches since, since he left. But it's just, that's life. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, that's life. It sucks. Yeah. And I wish things would have been better, but, it is what it is.
Yeah. So pro day, you have your pro day. Mm-hmm. Assuming you did really well if you got drafted in the second round. So you fire your agent. Yep. And who'd you go with?
So I fired my agent, and I end up representing myself.
Really? So throughout your whole career?
Yep. I represented myself. So it was one of those things, man, where, for me, I was like, dude, I'm going to learn the language. Yeah. I know what I want. I know who I am. Who can better sell me than me.
Yeah.
Right. And I was still cool with Eugene Parker. Me and his sons, we played basketball against each other throughout high school. So he was somebody who I can call. Yeah. And if I needed help with something, he would help.
Yeah.
But
I think all you need really is a lawyer who's done contracts before and just be like, I just pay you as a lawyer. I don't need to give you a percentage. Just charge me the hourly rate and tell me, here's my contract. What am I missing? Yeah. As long as you don't do like a Master P. Ricky Williams contract. When I hear stories like that, I'm like,
it's crazy.
Master P, like, come on, dude.
Yeah.
What are you doing to this kid? Because you want to be a big shot agent?
Right.
Like, let the pros do the pro thing.
Yeah.
The agents provide a lot of value if they connect with you. But to your point, you can do it yourself if you have an ounce of creativity. Same thing, you could be your own real estate agent. Right. You just need a lawyer who has experience looking at these contracts and be like, is this standard? Am I getting what they say I'm getting? Like, is this going to like trigger some bullshit in year 2? You know what I mean?
Yeah, and we had the NFLPA, we had lawyers.
Boilerplate stuff. You know, getting.
Yeah, we had the NFLPA had lawyers. So, I had a specific guy who I went to all the time, when it came to contracts. So I was covered from that standpoint.
Okay.
And I knew all the language, the verbiage to everything. So I was cool with it, and I was happy with the decision.
Good. So draft day comes up. Where are you watching from?
So we're in Fort Wayne. We had a,
with your pops?
So my dad wasn't there. Me and my dad fell out. There was a lot, with that situation, right? Because I ended up leaving my dad's house going into my senior year. I left my dad's house. I went with my auntie, my mom's sister. So, when I had my draft party, it was my mom's side of the family only. And I had a couple friends that came through, but, we had a clubhouse, and that's when I think they did all 3 or 4 rounds in one day, and then did the rest on Sunday.
And you're not talking to your dad at all during this?
Nope.
Oh, that sucks.
I did not see my dad. To be honest with you, I still haven't. It's crazy, and I thank God, and I could talk about it because, I think we're better off now.
Yeah.
But me and my dad, we are almost the same. And then, just the things that have happened in life.
Yeah.
Right? And so it was just, my dad wasn't there. My other sisters from my father and my brother wasn't there. We all just kind of just separated.
Yeah.
And I just remember I saw my dad one time. He came to one game. We played Cleveland. Him and my brother came to Cleveland.
Yeah.
And I saw my dad in Cleveland. That was probably one of the only times. I think I've seen my dad twice.
Yeah.
Since that time, and that was in 2010.
Now listen, I can relate, man. I haven't seen my mom in 15 years. I see my dad because my wife will invite my dad's wife is a saint. She's like nurse practitioner, PhD, super like this, like how you described your mom, just like sweet. There's not a single bad thing about this woman.
Right.
And so my wife is really tight with her, and my wife's kind of tight with my dad because she knows him only as her father-in-law. She doesn't know him growing up with me, so she's like, well, we'll invite your dad. And I'm just like, man, I want to relax at Christmas. I don't want to feel like tension or anything. And the tension is, to be fair, is all from me.
Yeah.
But so I can relate to everything that you're saying, and people hearing it be like, no, you got to fix this. I'm like, I'm good. Like, if you worry about you, I'll worry about me. I know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
So I feel you. All right. So you're with your auntie, and you're with that side of the family, and the draft's cracking. What happens?
Drafted. So I thought
Who
I was
think
going
is
to
gonna take you?
Miami. Miami told me they were going to draft me in the first round.
No offense to Kansas City, but if someone said to me, "You're going to Miami," just change. You're going to Kansas City. I'd be like, "Are you pranking me?"
Now, for me, I just want to play football.
Right? Yeah, of course.
For me, I'm kind of to the point where I'm like, okay, Miami was like, I'm taking you. They ended up taking Jason Allen in the first round. So we sitting there. So I purposely didn't go New Orleans. That was right after Katrina. New Orleans wanted me to come. New England wanted me to come. They were like, hey,
would have loved you in New England.
We might take you in the first, but they ended up taking Lawrence Maroney out of Minnesota.
Yeah. And
I was just like, I didn't go on my visit to either one of those teams. I went on my visit to New England. I left.
Why?
I did not like the vibe there.
Was this Belichick?
So, Belichick. I walked in. I remember walking into the stadium. I remember walking into the facility, walked into his office, and he started talking. I was just like, I do not like this dude. Like, I'm literally sitting there. I was like, I do not like this dude.
Well, you got him back.
I know, right? And so we end up leaving. I get done with my meeting with him, and the conversation between me and him, I was just sitting there looking like, this dude is weird.
Yeah.
And so I was just like, whatever. So when I left out of his office, I was supposed to go somewhere else with the people walking me around the facility. I was like, no, I'm gonna leave. Yeah. And so I left.
Yeah.
So, but New Orleans ended up taking Roman Harper out of Alabama, and Kansas City took me.
Yeah.
And so...
so when they announced your name, they call you before, right?
Yeah, so they called. I ended up talking to Carl Peterson.
All right. What's he say?
He was just like, hey, he's like, Bernard, he's like, we want to bring your physical nature here. He's like, we want everything you have here. So I was like, okay. I said, I'm coming. And so I talked to Coach Edwards. I talked to Coach Gibbs, my DB coach, who I absolutely adore.
Yeah.
And I end up going to Kansas City a day later. And, me, Tom Brady, we were there, and he was a first round pick out of Penn State. And, obviously I'm out of Purdue. So we just have a good time. I loved my time there. It was different, but I loved my time there.
And how long were you there?
So I was there. So that's another thing.
Because when I looked down your thing, I'm like, 2 years.
So a lot of
people... And knowing your
personality,
personality, I'm like, man, he must have been ruffling some damn feathers everywhere he went.
That's what it is. So I was there 3.
Okay.
So I was there 3. My first year, I played a little bit. They had Greg Wesley and Sammy Knight. And me and Jared Page came in. They drafted Jared out of UCLA in the 7th round, which he was drafted out for baseball. Yep. MLB drafted him as well. So me and him came in together, and we were like, yo, we're going to start. We're going to take their positions. We're going to do this, do that. And then we quickly found out what the NFL was different, And so what was so different, for me, where I was just so used to in college, everywhere we went, you know what I mean? Like when we got done with football, we went back to the dorms.
Yeah.
When we got done with football sophomore year, we went back to Hilltop.
Yeah.
We all lived in the same place all the time.
Yeah.
So when I got to the National Football League, it was like, whoa, when we're done with practice, everybody going home to their families.
Yeah.
And I was like, dude, this is different. And so that was hard for me.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Because I was just so used to that brotherhood, us sticking together, and everybody like, oh, bro, I got 4 kids. I got a teammate getting arrested for throwing a chicken wing at his wife. I'm like, bro, what in the world is going on here?
Yeah.
So it was just one of those things where I was just like, wow. So
do the teams provide like kind of mentors or like a contact for you? Like, hey, this is going to be an adjustment period. Talk to Joe Smith over here. He's your guy.
So Lamont Winston was amazing. So Lamont, his wife is... He's
on the team or
so
coach?
He was on the team, or he was a coach.
Yeah.
I shouldn't say a coach. He was with player personnel.
Okay.
And so I shouldn't say player personnel. Lamont was with player development. So he was with player development, and Lamont took me under his wing. So I'm talking about, we're at his house, me and Megan at his house. We watched his kids, Cameron and Alana, grow up. You know what I mean? His wife was a lawyer, just amazing. They were amazing.
And by the way, were you married at this time?
So Megan and I were together.
She went to Purdue?
She went to Indiana State. She played volleyball for Indiana State. So she gave up her scholarship going into her senior year to come and live in Kansas City with me.
Oh, really? Oh, so she left school to just be like, my husband's in the NFL, we're doing this, I'm supporting him.
She transferred to KU and lost a bunch of her credits because she left Indiana State.
Yep.
And to go to a university, which she ended up losing a lot of her credits. Yeah. So she commuted to KU every day to finish classes. Yeah. So while I was at camp and everything else, she was commuting back and forth. No kids.
Okay.
So, it was just one of those things. We're at, we just turned 21 years old.
Yeah, you were like little kids.
Yeah, we were buying a house at 21. We're trying to get all this stuff situated. And so that was our life.
Yeah.
And, so being in Kansas City, man, it was amazing. I loved it. First year, went through whatever we went through with the team. I blocked the punt. We got into the playoffs with that blocked punt. Played Indianapolis and quickly went home. So going into our second year.
Hold on. Before you do that, when you rock up to training camp, first NFL training camp, explain to me what happens.
First NFL training camp was football.
Uneventful.
It was
You just rocked in and were like, let's go.
Yeah. I mean, I'm walking, I'm hitting.
How much faster and intense was the action from Purdue to NFL? Was it bigger the jump from high school to college or college to pros? What was the bigger adjustment?
The bigger adjustment was high school to college.
Yeah, just the play calling.
The biggest thing in the NFL was everything was so precise in the NFL. Everything.
There was no gray area.
There was no gray area.
You're not out there fucking freewheeling it.
Exactly.
Like, dude, your responsibility's here. Stop drifting over there. I got you.
So it was, I mean, when I tell people this all the time, and the same thing I try to tell coaches, and I tell, like, for coaches, stop comparing high school kids to NFL players.
Yeah.
That gap is so large. Don't do that to them.
Yeah.
These kids need a foundation.
Yeah.
And so when you talk about the NFL, when I got to the NFL, it was just like, oh, snaps. Like, I'm like, oh, okay. Like the quarterbacks, literally, if it's a certain route, you're not going to see air on that ball. That ball is being zipped.
Yeah.
And then, we're in college sometime, that ball came lofted a little bit and you had a chance. You ain't have no shot.
Yeah.
And then you had defensive linemen running just as fast as you did.
Yeah.
You had offensive linemen, they knew where to block, who to block, how to block all the time. And so,
and those offensive linemen are big and athletic.
And that's what they were mean.
Did you know Chris Spencer?
Oh, yeah.
Chris, I bought Chris Spencer's house.
Yeah.
When I see that dude is so big and thinking about him at guard or at center coming down the line with those big ass feet, I'm like, this guy is a friggin' a small house.
Yeah, he was, So we were actually teammates in Tennessee, but no,
okay.
Yeah, so, I mean, just the game was just so precise.
Yeah, professional.
So, it's all professional.
Yeah.
All professional. So the camps and everything, I mean, freaking.
Well, like freshman rookie hazing and shit.
I didn't play it.
I was going to say, there's no way they're like, Bernard, you're getting a haircut.
Yeah. So I remember one night we went, and I'm not a drinker. I don't smoke, don't drink.
Yeah.
We end up going, they want to go to a bar. And so my rookie year, we got Ty Law, came from New England.
Oh,
so
wow.
Ty Law is there. We got Patrick Surtain, which all those guys are super cool. I love Pat.
Yeah.
Saw his son grow up right in front of us. But we had a couple other guys, we go and they rung up and invited other people, all these women and, it rung up like a $45,000 bill
for the rookies.
For the rookies.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there and I'm playing pool. And so I remember Paige told me.
Did you know this was coming or they sprung it on you?
So they was like, hey guys, we're going out. So we lived in Overland Park.
Yeah.
So a lot of the guys lived in Overland Park. And so some of the other guys that didn't, they lived probably 10, 15 minutes away.
Yeah.
So they came, we all met at this bar in Overland Park. So I remember we were playing pool. And I'm like, they was like, hey, the bill came. And I remember, I'm not going to say the name. He said, send that check to the rookies. And Paige was like, Bernard, he was like, this bill is expensive. So they were trying to stick me with the $45,000, and then
just you,
just me with the $45,000.
I would say no.
So I was sitting there, and I go,
I don't even have $45,000. And even if I did, I'd say I didn't.
Right. I'm sitting there, and I'm like, I was like, what is? I don't drink, so I'm like, what is all of this?
Yeah.
And the waitress was like, oh, that's liquor. I was like, I'm not paying for that.
Yeah.
And so then a couple of guys, older guys, veterans, was like, yeah, you are. I was like, I will fight every one of y'all. And I'm not playing.
Yeah.
I will fight every single one of y'all. I go, all them women that just drink this liquor, all those other people that just ate this food, I go, they're paying for it.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm not paying for it. And I said, I'll beat the piss out of them too. And so we sitting there.
That I'm with.
And they started taking everybody's check and giving it to them. I was like, I'm not paying for that.
Yeah.
Now Herm would not let me. Herm always, he said, Bernard, your rookie year, he said, when we get on this plane, I need my hot Krispy Kreme donuts.
Yeah.
And I had to get Cracker Barrel.
That kind of stuff is cool.
I was like, I'll do that.
But you can't take 45 G's off a young kid who's trying to like, what if you break your knee the next year and now it's like, that money's got to last me the rest of my life? Get out of here with that. I'm not with the money.
Yeah.
But if you want to make me carry the pads and bring the donuts and stuff, okay, I'll play along.
Oh yeah, but no, that was a night where I think all of them were mad at me. I told them, I said, I'll fight I will fight all of y'all.
Especially if you're not drinking yourself.
I was like, dude, I'm not doing this.
And it's another thing if they tell you in advance, like rookies, you're all paying for this dinner. We're going to go out to a team dinner, not with friggin' bringing your friends.
If we did do a couple DB dinners.
Yeah.
And I get that. I'll pay for the dinner. But we got 40 people over here drinking liquor and asking for shots that was like $350.
Yeah, get the
come on, man. I'm not doing that.
It's all public knowledge. What was your first contract?
First contract was a 4-year... What was it, 4 years? $1 2.1 or 1.8, something like that. I don't even remember total.
So like 500 a year roughly.
So
did you get a signing bonus?
I remember my first check. I remember, and the Chiefs actually messed my check up.
Oh no!
So they gave me a check for $780,000.
Signing bonus.
That's
a shitload of money.
So I get that. And then
your eyes bug out like
I was like, yo.
Did you show your wife like
yeah, I was like, yo, like this is crazy. So then they had to give me another check because accounting had messed something up.
Yeah.
So I get another check, but then I'm like figuring out like taxes and I'm like,
that's because I was gonna say after you see the big number, then you're like, why is there only 350 left?
Yeah, it was insane. But that was, dude, I was just sitting back like, wow. You know what I mean? Because like coming out, you can do a line of credit or whatever it may be, and I did. I got a line of credit. I got a car.
Yeah.
And I paid that back and everything else.
They charged like 20% interest.
Oh my gosh, bro, it was ridiculous. But it like I was just like, never again.
That's what we need to do. We need to have our own little business here, you and I, saying, we're just advisors. We're going to take 2% to advise you not to do that.
Yeah, man. So it was crazy. It was crazy just seeing the numbers. But, I'm not a flashy person, right? Like I'm not flashy. I just, I was grateful. I was dumb at the same time because the upbringing, I didn't have the upbringing.
Yeah.
Because we didn't have money.
Yeah.
Right. So, I made a lot of bad decisions.
I've always wanted to like figure out a way to be like an advisor to kids because I always tell people like, listen, I'm lucky. I've got what a lot of rich people don't have, and that's enough. I don't need anything, but I love helping kids. Like if I knew someone like you, it's like 700. I'm like, I want you to pretend that that's the last check you're ever going to get. Would you go out and buy a Rolex watch if you only had $300,000 in cash? Let's put it in the bank and let that sit. Or buy a house. Like, chill. You're already in the NFL. I tell kids this all the time. Fighters, athletes. When you walk into any bar, number one, don't go buy diamonds. Buy them on Amazon. No one's going to think that you have fake diamonds on. You're already the coolest guy in the bar. You play in the NFL. Right. These other idiots with the diamonds and the watches, they're like clowns. They're like, you know what I mean? They're selling used cars, and they're like in their positioning themselves like they want to be you.
Yeah.
You don't need to impress them. And if they're impressed with your watch, they suck. You don't even want to be friends with them.
Right.
Nevertheless, so you get the money, and thank God you're with your wife, so she's probably like, all right, let's save this money, right?
Yeah, so we were, like I said, we were both young, 21.
Yeah.
So, we were just we were living.
Yeah. And
then we ended up having my son, and like I said, we were in Kansas City, 2 more years, and it was my second year where I remember Herm Edwards. Like I just remember I was in there, I'm studying, I'm watching a film. And he called me in his office and he was just like, hey, he's like, Bernard, he said, you haven't even cracked who you are yet as a player. He's like, dude, you're a great kid. He's like, you haven't even touched who you are. He's like, I want you to start doing a couple things different. He's like, I want to, so start challenging me in practice and everything else. And I remember I went out and I was just start doing more and more things in practice, maintenance with my body and watching, my food, because going into my second year, we had got pregnant and, I ballooned up to 250.
Wow.
So when Megan was eating, I was eating. So I got to 250 because my walk around weight, I can carry 240, 245 easy.
Yeah.
And so when I got up to 250, I remember Coach said it weighed me in. And so he went and told Coach Edwards. Coach Edwards chewed me out in his office. He was like, you haven't even cracked who you are. So I got the weight off me and just started preparing different. And then that's when I fell in love with the game.
Yeah.
And from that point on, I was like, dude, I'm attacking this so different now. Just with my approach to studying, my approach to taking notes, my approach to practicing, my approach to eating, my approach to playing the game. It was so different. And so my Coach Gibbs saw it, and other players saw it, and it wasn't even a question. So, going through those next 2 years in Kansas City, and then when they fired Herm, like I was just like, dang. And so, after everything happened, so year 2 was when the Brady situation happened.
Yeah, explain what happened on the play.
Hey, man, the running back tried to cut me.
Yeah.
I'm blitzing, I'm coming through the hole, which he was my guy. So if he's blocking, I could insert and blitz.
Yeah.
So he cut me. And so once he
took out your legs.
Yeah, he tried to take my legs out, to where, because if he would have tried to stay up, I think it was Morris or whatever his name was.
He would have steamrolled him.
Yeah, so I would have ran right through him.
Yeah.
So it was better for him to do that than cut me, because I'm like, you put me on the ground now as I'm trying to get to Brady, where I launched. And
From
Brady
your
was
knees, kind
on
of,
my
right?
knees.
Yep.
I'm launching to get and to tackle him. Well, Brady was actually stepping to throw the pass down the football field. And when I hit his knee, and I tell people all the time, that ask me about it, I literally heard him scream.
Yeah.
I heard it.
Yeah.
I mean, he released the ball, but I heard the scream. I knew it was no good. So I actually flipped over and got up and looked back. And I was just like, yeah, he's done. And so, it was just one of those things where it sucks. It sucks that it happened. That wasn't my intention.
Right.
You know what I mean?
You never want to really hurt anybody.
Right, yeah.
I mean, you want to knock them down and take a play off, but not injure them.
If I hit you and we're going hit up, I'm trying to put you out.
Yeah.
I'm just a hard-nosed player like that. I love the players that I watched growing up. And the way that they played the game. When I hit you, I work out for a reason.
Yeah.
I train to hit and explode the way that I do for a reason. So running backs, receivers, whoever it is, when I hit you, I expect to knock the piss out of you. Whatever happens with me knocking the piss out of you, that's what happens. That situation, me hitting him in the leg, I don't ever want anybody to go out like that, right? But that's what happened.
Yeah.
So it sucked, but when they brought, after they fired everybody in the staff from going in after my third year, they ended up bringing in Scott Pioli from New England. Yeah. Well, when Scott Pioli came in, so he had a presser. He did everything in the facility, came directly in. He had all the media and everybody walking behind him. I was sitting down. I just got done working out for off season. He came to my locker and he bent down and he said, Bernard, he said, I'm going to cut you for what you did to Tom. And I was like,
he knew you didn't do that on purpose, right?
But he was the poster child. So literally, I got cut right after.
And you're starting.
I'm starting.
You're knocking people out of games all the time.
Oh yeah.
You knocked out 4 Patriots. Yeah. Wes Welker, Gronkowski, and who was the running back? Knocked him out cold.
Yeah. So
Stephen.
Ridley.
Yes,
Stephen Ridley.
Poor bastard. That was a vicious hit.
Hey, I'm sorry to hear that. So it's just that's the business.
All right. So he cuts a starting player, and what happens?
So Scott Pioli, he brought in Todd Haley. Brought Todd Haley in from, I forget where Todd Haley came from, but nevertheless, he cut me, fired the staff. I went to Houston with Coach Gibbs, was my DB coach.
Okay.
So I'm in Houston. I get to Houston, start there immediately. Was there, they had because I was going in my 4th year, they had my rights. Yeah. So they tendered me. Yep. So, they could negotiate with me, but at the end of the day, it's like, okay, we can tender them.
And what does tender mean?
So a tender, all that means is you get a first round tender or original round tender. So, whatever round you were drafted at, they will give you that, or you get a first round tender.
It's a set amount. So if you're a second round, it might be $2 million. If you're first round, it might be $4 million.
Right. So first round tender was, I think, was 2.5.
So there was nothing to negotiate.
Right. Okay. So they were like, well, we'll just put the tender on you and not have to negotiate because they knew they were going. So that next year, which would have been 2010.
That would have been a free agent year?
So they were going into a lockout. So the collective bargaining was happening.
Okay. So they were like, let's just get the cheap.
They were bracing. So every owner was bracing for that. So really a lot of big contracts was not happening.
Okay.
So after my first year in Houston, they tendered me. And then so I played my second year in Houston. And so we start to negotiate, but then it was just like, no, we're going to hold off. So then the owners ended up blocking us out.
But that could work against them and in your favor if you go out and play the shit out of it.
Right. Well, so they ended up locking us out.
Yep.
So when they locked us out, when they lifted the lockout, that's where I was going to stay in Houston and negotiate with Rick Smith.
Yeah.
So they end up lifting the lockout. I go to Baltimore now because everybody that was a tender player came back as an unrestricted free agent.
Oh, okay. So you're like open market. Who's got the highest
Exactly.
bidder?
So I was able to go to Baltimore on a 1-year deal. Now, I was skeptical going to Baltimore.
A 1-year deal is...
Yes. So I went there on a 1-year deal. Because coming out of that lockout, they didn't really want to... They wanted to wait to see how everything was going. Which the agreement was the agreement.
Yeah.
But now, so going to Baltimore, I was like, okay, well, hold on. Because they wanted me, but then Harbaugh really didn't want me.
Why?
Ozzie wanted me.
Okay.
So Harbaugh was like, he wanted a kid, Zibikowski.
Yeah.
He wanted him to start. And so, he wanted him to be next to Ed Reed and to be able to start because they drafted him out of Notre Dame.
Yeah.
So I go to Baltimore.
How much was that? How much was that deal?
That deal was, I think that was 1.5. That was 1.5 for 1 year.
They got you cheap.
Yeah, so that was 1.5. So I go there, and we're sitting there, and me and Ozzie. I negotiate with Ozzie.
And Ray's there.
Ray and all them there.
Those are like bad boys.
So I was skeptical because I knew my attitude. I was like, am I going to get along with them? And so I was like, dude, like I'm an alpha.
Yeah.
And I know they're alphas.
Yeah, alphas.
So I was like, so is this going to work? So looking back on it was one of the stupidest thoughts I had because we all were super tight. Like, we all thought alike. It was a jungle.
And that was the year that defense was like, was that the year they were giving up like 2 points a game or something?
So no, that was early on. Like we didn't give up much. We were hard nosed though.
But there was 1 year Ray was there where like I don't think they scored a friggin' touchdown.
That was 2000.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I had dinner with Ray 2 months ago, man. Yeah. He's an intense guy too.
Yeah. So
but he's just like you.
Yeah, that's so
crazy.
Imagine that plus. That's 30, 40 some guys on defense, exactly the same.
I know.
So when I got to Baltimore, I was like, dude, like I'm at home. I was like, this is where I'm supposed to be. And I just remember Terrell Suggs.
Oh my God, I forgot about him.
Dude, I'm talking about I slapped somebody in practice and I just hear Terrell just screaming, yelling, cussing. And he was just like, this is what we needed. This is what we. So he always say, Bernard, you're a piece of. He's like, you're that piece that we need. And so we playing and me and Harbaugh, like I said, I don't talk to him. Me and him never talk.
The head coach.
We're never talking. So the game plans would come in. We would go to play games, and Harbaugh would be like, no, I want Zibby in. So like. I'm looking like, oh, no, we're not doing this.
Yeah.
I was like, I signed here to be a starter.
Yeah.
I was like, nobody beat me out. I'm a starter.
Yeah.
So he wanted Zibikowski in. The defense we were shut down with me in.
Yeah.
So we were kind of going back and forth. And I'm looking like, after one game, we played Pittsburgh. And after playing Pittsburgh, we got back to Baltimore. I was in the cafeteria. I went to Ozzie. I said, look, I'm either going to be the starter or you trade me right now or release me.
Yeah.
I said, do one or the other. I said, I'm not playing. I'm not sitting here for this.
Yeah.
Sitting behind somebody I know that's not better than me.
Yeah.
I said, you're not going to find another strong safety in the National Football League better than me.
Yeah.
So that was that. I was a starter, and we went to the AFC Championship, won the Super Bowl the next year.
There it is, right there. Let me see.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Boom. So there's nothing more. I don't know. Like I told you earlier, I'm a nerd with this stuff. To me, what it signifies, all the work and effort. This is like what everyone is like ready to kill each other for. Is a Super Bowl ring. Yeah. Even more than any other of the sports, I'm like, Super Bowl ring.
It's crazy, bro.
Dude, it's so awesome. All right, so that was the second. So you were there 2 years.
I was there 2 years.
Second year, you win.
After you win a Super Bowl.
Does Harbaugh ever say like, hey, I was wrong about you. You're a really good player.
Oh, no. So me and Harbaugh, we butted heads. So it's funny because Michael Orr, I remember, and
he was there too, man.
Oh yeah, dude, we had some players. So Ozzie and them, they did it. Him, DeCosta, they did a great job drafting players. They did a phenomenal job. But nevertheless, Mike came to me, and Mike he come to me and because we would have cornhole tournaments.
Yeah.
And so we had 2 sets of cornholes in the locker room, cornhole boards, and we would just play tournament after tournament. So Mike came to me, he go, Bernard, now I see why this is why we your third team. He go, bro, you don't play around with these people. I was like, no, because we had a disagreement at a game, but it carried over into a team meeting. So Baltimore was a team where we talked it out.
Yeah.
And I mean, we would be in team meeting, and Harbaugh would look to say something, and if he was wrong, we called him out. And he didn't like it.
This was the entire team or just defense?
The entire team.
Okay, so the whole team's in the team meeting.
Correct. But we had a committee. Yeah. So we had a committee. It was myself, Ray, Haloti, Terrell, Sam, Joe, Ed, and Marshall Yonda and Anquan Bolden. And we're all sitting there, you know, and
good players.
I mean, so our committee, that was our committee.
Yeah.
And so when we had something, you know, when we went to Harbaugh, we told him, we said, dude, you are a disciplinarian, and we like that. Yeah. But you're killing us because, you know, we're trying to practice. I remember we played Dallas.
Yeah.
And we're doing double downs.
Yeah.
Well, dude, we can't do double downs, and we're killing ourselves in practice, and then we're trying to go and get ready for a football game.
Yeah.
I'm like, bro, we don't have anything. Our bodies are dead, so recovery is not happening. Dallas running back still running right now, the way they ran on us. And so we get done with that game, and we come back in the locker room, and we was like, yo, like, you know, we come back for I think it was like a Monday or whatever, and we had a players-only meeting in the locker room.
Yeah.
And so then we took that to Harbaugh, and we told him, we said, look, dude, you're done. You're not doing this anymore.
Yeah.
So the leadership that we had on that team, he did not like. He did not like the fact that we said what was on our mind.
He was a tough guy too, though. He wasn't a pushover.
No, he wasn't allowed in our defensive meetings. He would come knock on the door. We would not let him in. You know, he would come knock and, you know, no, bro, you can't come in here.
Yeah.
Vontae is my boy. Vontae Leach, one of the best fullbacks to ever play in the National Football League. Vontae he would always call Harbaugh I guy.
Yeah.
Harbaugh was hilarious. And you know, he's hilarious. But, you know, he was a guy where he made sure during game day that the camera came to him.
Oh, I gotcha.
And, you know, to be on the big screen.
Yeah.
And to do all this and do all of that. Dude, he was listening to music on the sideline. He wasn't even a part of anything that happened, game plan. So it's going to be interesting to see what he does with the New York Giants.
Yeah.
Because this can either be some circus, or this could be something good.
I don't have words to tell you how much I dislike New York Giants, Jets, Yankees, Rangers, all of them. I can't stand New York teams with a passion. I hope they never win a game. You know, what's funny is Debo just moved in our neighborhood. For Brian Debo, the former coach for the Giants. Now he's the OC at
the Titans.
So I'm driving around the other day. So when you win the Super Bowl, what's that like? Like,
you win a Super Bowl, you unlock things for a head coach.
Yeah.
And, you know, us winning the Super Bowl, the Super Bowl is probably one of my worst football games ever played in. Ever been a part of, ever. So I played the game, I was recovering, but I played the game with 6 broken ribs.
Oh, so 6 broken ribs. There's not a lot of injuries that are more painful than a broken rib. You can't sleep, you can't run, you can't breathe, you can't move.
So and
you can't do anything about it.
It was bad. And
so they hitting you with Toradol?
So after the first or second play, I came out, or after the first drive, I think I came out, we ran to the locker room. I took 5 shots of Toradol in the ribs to numb it.
Oh,
so
my God.
I took numbing, and then I took Toradol. So like we tried to numb it. Oh my goodness, bro. I'm talking about I could not breathe. I was trying to run, hustle. I couldn't, because the first play, Vernon Davis ran like a crosser, like a speedo stop or something. And I had to chase him because it was somebody else's responsibility.
Yeah.
And I ended up chasing him, but then when I fell, I redid everything.
Oh.
So, you know, so trying to get through that in a game, but then also a lot of people don't even know, I've never ever spoken about this. So during the game, I get a call from Dean Pease from the press box. And he goes, Bernard, he said, we need you to do something. And I go, what is that, Dean? He go, we need you to cover for one of our players. I go, Dean, you want me to do my responsibility and somebody else's responsibility? He go, we just need you to cover. And so I was just like, okay. So I agreed to that.
What does that mean?
Without going into detail, just to help somebody else.
Okay.
So
someone who was hurt?
Nope.
Or someone who just wasn't getting it done?
It was just something. They needed help.
Okay.
So I had to cover for a player, and only 2 of our players know this.
Yeah.
And so, you know, so for me, I've always prided myself on I'm going to be disciplined. I'm going to be where I'm supposed to be, because I want to be one of 11, right? So now when I take on that responsibility to cover for this other player, now I'm sitting here and now my eyes are everywhere.
Yeah.
Because I got to look here, then I got to look here. Well, a lot of times when I got to look back here, I had Randy Moss running a 4-2 at me. So I'm looking like, dude, like I can't. So now I'm late. Now I'm late to running. Now a pass come behind me. Now I got to run back here, missing tackles, and you just can't play that way.
Yeah.
So, you know, we end up winning the game. I'm hot pissed after the game.
Yeah.
I go in the locker room. I'm throwing all of my equipment. I'm hot. Like, Ed comes up. Ed was just like, Bernard, we won.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it. Like, who cares? I'm like, no, bro. Like, this is a game, a big game that we played in that I was piss poor terrible in.
Yeah.
And so, I never wore my ring. I never will wear it. I don't like watching the Super Bowl.
You got to put it behind you because shit happens. This represented your whole career, not one game.
I get you, but hey, that game is on film, and film don't lie.
All right.
So I wish I could take it back. That's one game I wish I could have back.
Yeah, but you're a mature adult now. You're like, you know what? I was hurt. Shit happens. I still was out there giving it my all.
Right. Yeah.
If that was your son, you'd be like, did you do everything you could? Yeah. Well, then that's the best you can do.
I hear you.
Sometimes guys are going to be better. That's life.
But I'm a competitor, and they were better.
So after the second year, how do you get out of Baltimore?
So I renegotiated a deal with Ozzy.
Okay.
So I had a deal that they just paid me upfront money. I renegotiated an extension. Okay. So they come back. So once we unlocked Pandora's box by winning the Super Bowl, now Harbaugh gained control over the roster. So when he gained control of the roster, he cut. They traded. Did they trade or release Ed? I think they released Ed. They released me.
Just released.
Yeah.
Not even to try to trade.
Yep. So they released me, and
that guy really didn't like you, huh?
Yeah. So when they released me, I was supposed to go to Indianapolis. So after the Super Bowl, you do your exit interviews and your physicals. So I do my exit physical. We do it with the doctor at the hotel. Like, we literally got up. We were up all night.
Yeah.
I did my I don't drink.
Yeah.
So I know for a fact I did my exit physical.
Yeah.
Did my exit physical. We sitting there. We get on a plane, go back to Baltimore for the parade.
Yeah.
So go back to Baltimore for the parade. We get done with the parade. We end up going back. It was this big thing because Ray was retiring.
Yeah.
So he did a big thing in the locker room or whatever. And we fly back to Overland Park, Kansas. We had just built a house during the bye week. So we built the house. We went back. Megan had Camille, my youngest daughter.
My wife is a substitute teacher for everyone else and has Camille in a lot of the classes. She loves Camille. Every time we see you guys, she's like, dude, his daughter Camille, I love her. They're like awesome. Best friends. Every time she sees him, she's like,
she's me.
And Camille is an
body.
athlete.
Yeah, she's me in the female body.
Yes.
So we go back to Kansas, and we were preparing. Like, I'm resting to get my ribs right.
Yep.
Got a newborn, so we got 3 kids now. We're sitting there, and I get a call about a week, I get a call right when free agency opened up and everything.
Yeah. But you have a verbal agreement with
No, I have a contract. Yeah.
Oh, it's signed?
It's signed.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so they'd already paid me everything, my upfront money, everything.
Oh, okay.
So we free agency opened up, and I think we get to the last day of free agency. I get a call from Ozzy. Ozzy called me. Ozzy said, Bernard, I think we're going to end up going in another direction. He go, Bernard, this is not my decision. He go, this is Harbaugh's decision.
Yeah.
He said, you and him can't get along. So, he said, Bernard, he wants to cut you. And I said, okay.
But you already have the money.
Right.
Oh,
so
cut me.
I was like, okay.
I got a new contract.
So I was like, all right. I literally get off the phone with Ozzy. Me and him talk for a little bit. Get off the phone with Ozzy. I'm on the phone with Chuck Pagano. And then the GM for the Colts. Yeah. So I'm like, they were like, okay, we got we had a 4-year deal set in stone or put in place. And we was like, okay. He was like, Bernard, fly here so we can do the physical and we do everything. So I go I'm literally heading to the airport. Ozzy called me and go, well, Bernard, we need to do an exit physical. I go, Ozzy, I already did my exit physical after the Super Bowl. Yeah. He go, no, we need to do another exit physical. I go, Ozzy. I was like, dude, y'all cut me late, first of all. Yeah. So now I'm sitting here. So I told Chuck, I was like, Chuck, I got to go to Baltimore. Hold on. I was like, just hold my deal in place. Get on the plane, go to Baltimore. I literally, off the plane in Baltimore, I get a driver to the facility or to the doctor's office. I'm in the doctor's office for 32 seconds.
Why do they need an exit physical?
Don't know. I have no idea.
Is that it? But even after the end of the season, I didn't realize that everyone gets an exit physical.
You got to have an exit physical and an exit interview. So we did. What
do they ask you in an exit interview? Like, any problems?
Just
no problems.
How are you feeling? Bye. Whatever. So I was like,
cool. Just it's probably like a cover your ass thing. Check the box. Yeah, we asked him if he was already. Said yeah. Now he's claiming he has CTE.
Yeah. So it's just one of those things where I'm in there for 32 seconds. I get off. I leave. Go to leave Baltimore. I call Chuck, or Chuck had texted me. He said, Bernard, I'm so sorry. He called me. He said, Bernard, I'm so sorry. And I go, what happened? He go, we ended up signing LaRon Landry. So they signed the other safety, LaRon Landry, from, I think he was with New York, if I'm not mistaken. So they signed LaRon Landry. So then I ended up coming to Tennessee. So I came to Tennessee for a visit, and it was like one of the last, we were, I was like, I want to get this thing over with.
Yeah.
So that's how I ended up with the Titans.
And who was the coach at the time?
The coach at the time was, it wasn't Wiz Hunt. It was Mike Munchak.
Oh, okay.
For the Tennessee Titans.
And Taylor Lewan was there?
No. So they brought him in with, Taylor Lewan didn't come in till was it the next year? I think he came in the next year with Wiz Hunt. He was Wiz Hunt's first round.
Did you play with those guys, or how many years were you at Tennessee?
So I was in Tennessee for 2 years.
So you were there with Lewan and...
Yes.
Okay.
So I was there.
Taylor's a cool personality. I mean, did you like him on the team?
No. Can't stand him. I couldn't stand him. Right now, I don't have any issues with him. Yeah. But I just thought he was a loudmouth that didn't back it up.
He was offensive lineman, right?
Yeah, old tackle out of Michigan.
Did you guys play 1D versus 1O? Did you guys practice like that in the NFL?
Yeah, we would do things like that in the league, and I think we got into it one time, but I want fights with him.
Yeah. He's a big
fights.
dude.
I don't care.
I know you don't care, but I'm just saying in general, he's a gigantic guy.
Yeah, that's fine. But it's just for me. I came to Tennessee from winning the Super Bowl. And so I come to Tennessee and I'm seeing a lot of these guys don't know how to win.
Yeah.
That's
definitely a Tennessee thing. Like they just didn't have that. They didn't have that culture.
Right. So it was, when I got here, I mean, I don't know what it's like now because I have not been to an NFL game and I don't go to NFL facilities, right? But, I'm looking at how things were done. Because they shielded me from a lot of that when I came on my visit. They kept me by the hotel, and then we went out to eat to a restaurant. So, I mean, I don't even remember coming to the facility much.
Yeah.
So when I signed here, when I finally went over to the facility, I go, what in the world is this?
Why, the facilities were shit?
I mean, it was just more or less like it was like an office building that they turned to an NFL facility.
I gotcha.
And I'm just like, I mean, this doesn't even really go.
Yeah.
And, the cafeteria was like a meeting room that they just made a cafeteria.
Yeah.
And then the dude, they had winos making food. I'm like, bro, like, what is this? Like, so it was just, you had pull-in stoves. And I'm like, bro, what? So it was just different. Like, playing for the Tennessee Titans, like, I thank God for my opportunities. And, I signed a 1-year deal and then I renegotiated a 3-year deal after my second year. But it was just one of those things when I got hurt my second year, my first year was a lot of fun. We had the Tennessee Titans, I would say has had more talent than most teams in the National Football League, but couldn't put it together because the culture is so bad.
Yes.
The culture is so bad.
But I think that's the ownership group.
That's all ownership. It's all ownership.
Because, I mean, even when Rand was the GM, I feel like he was scapegoated with the Mike Vrabel firing. And they're like, Rand, because I've had Rand on the show, but he must have a non-disparage clause. And he ain't saying shit, so I don't want to speak for him. But I know he was scapegoated, like, we're going to fire Vrabel. Go out there and tell them why we're firing him. He's like, I'm not firing him. You are.
Right, yeah.
But they left him out there flapping in the wind. And everyone that you speak to, like, I know that Chris Spencer has a podcast and he had Taylor on and they must have got into it about something because I think when Taylor came in, he called out the vets and was like, this is bullshit. What's going on here? And Chris was like, yeah, you called us out. And they like talked it out on the show. But
so with that, the Titans, it was that place, man. I remember when I first got to Tennessee, I argued with front office. I go, why don't we have a steam room and a sauna?
They didn't?
Never had it.
Oh my God.
I literally argued with them until they built one inside of the bathrooms, the restrooms. So they put a sauna on the left and the steam room on the right.
Yeah.
Or vice versa. And I'm like, I remember walking in to the weight room and they had TRX bands everywhere. And I go, no wonder y'all be losing. None of y'all strong in here. I'm like, what are you freaking out TRX bands around here for?
You need like caveman weights for NFL guys. You need like, fucking kettlebells and weights.
And so, for me, I'm like just seeing all of that. And then I'm walking down the hallway and I see the whole the wall on the hallway is like the play of them losing the Super Bowl. And I'm like, dude, like when for the Titans to have commercials of losing the Super Bowl, to have a wall of losing, I'm like, this is why the culture is so bad.
Yeah.
I'm like, we celebrate losing. When I'm like, dude, there's been so much. I could tell you so many names from the 2 years I was on that team. And I was like, these dudes should be players.
Yeah.
But just the culture.
Yeah.
So you go through the head coaching. We had not a head coach, but friends of a head coach who were coaching positions. And we in meetings, we go in, he got a cigar and scotch.
No way.
In meetings. And I'm looking like, bro, we got coaches fighting each other. I'm like, dude, what is going on?
It's like the fucking Bad News Bears.
Right. So, in Kansas City now, I will say this about Gunther. Gunther Cunningham was a hard nose. I watched that man take chew out of his mouth and slap the piss out of an assistant coach. Just threw it directly in his face and just mother effed him and everything else. I watched it.
Oh, my God.
And I'm looking at Gunther like, bro, like, do you not understand? You are 70-something years old. If this man put hands on you, so, I'm not against disagreements. I know that they happen, but with the Tennessee Titans, I'm looking at so many guys. I remember one coach, we're playing Jacksonville Jaguars in Jacksonville, and I'm like, hey coach, I was like, hey, you need to tell the linebackers this and this. He goes, no, you tell them. I'm watching the game. I'm like, what? And so we're losing games. They're smoking cigars outside the buses. I'm like, bro, like what are we doing?
That's poison.
So it's just the culture is just so bad. And after my second year with the Titans, I remember I went up to the GM. I said, hey man, I said I'm recovering from this Achilles injury. I said I'll be fine. I said, but I can't stay here. I said I cannot stay. And I knew that they were going to have to draft a quarterback. They had Jake Locker. They had I don't know how many quarterbacks played with the Tennessee Titans when I was there, but nevertheless, I knew they had to draft a quarterback, and they ended up drafting Mariota.
Yeah.
I said I do not want to be here with a rookie quarterback.
Yeah.
I don't want to play with a rookie quarterback. Yeah. I just don't. And so
it's almost impossible.
Yeah.
And a couple guys can do it, but it is like the scheming and it's just too much to learn, right?
Yeah, man. But he did some really good things. I didn't want to be involved with that, especially with the culture I knew that was around.
Yeah.
So, he was reluctant. He ended up granting me my release. Now, thinking back on it, I'm looking like I should have just stayed because it's $3 million I left on the table. And so, But
I'm with you. I'm like, no amount of money can make me happy. If it's not working, it's not working.
Yeah, man.
I've done decisions like that when I was working on Wall Street. I'm like, I can stay here and make another X amount, but fuck this place.
Yeah.
I need to be happy.
Right.
Like I said earlier, I have enough. I'd love to have a lot more money. I'm far from rich, but I have enough. No one's going to tell me what to do.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yes, sir.
That's what I tell people now. It's like, I do what I want to do in work. I want to work with certain clients, and other people I'm like, I don't want to work with these people.
Right.
It's like kryptonite. No amount of money is worth it.
Yeah.
And when you've had money, lost money, had money, I've been through ups and downs, you realize when I had more money, I wasn't more happy.
Right.
Had a little more anxiety. I could do a few more things, but my peace of mind now that I don't have to answer to anyone else, I'd never have conflict with people. Because if I do, I'm like, I'm not working with that guy.
Right.
When I worked on a trading desk, it was like being in a locker room. You like how some guys, you love being with them all day. Other guys, you're like, I'm going to stab this guy in the neck. I hate him. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's like, you can't just punch someone in the face on a team or on a trading desk. So what happens from Tennessee? Where do you go? So
Tennessee, man, I recovered. I got back to running after about 6.5, 7 months after having Achilles surgery. And I remember that's when Jalen started to kind of smell himself. My oldest son started to kind of smell himself. He's kind of getting to this, football and everything else. And I just remember going to Oakland. So I flew to Oakland, worked out that was the very first time I've ever worked out in there. I really ain't even gonna call it a workout. Like they was like, hey, Bernard, we just want to see you come on the field and
just want to make sure you can run your Achilles like normal.
So I go pedal, I break, I do a couple breaks. I was like, okay, we good. And so I go back in the facility, and I remember talking to Charles Woodson and a couple other guys, and we all talking, laughing. And I go into I went to Reggie's office, the GM. So we got the contract right there.
And you don't have an agent, so you can sign it right on the spot.
Yeah, so I got the contract right there, and I just remember I was going to sign it, and I was just like, the trainer opened the door. And he had asked Reggie to come here. And so Reggie went out, came back in. He was like, hold on, Bernard. So he went out, came back in. So Reggie was like, he came back in. He was like, hey, let's hold off just a little bit. And, we'll come back at this. We'll come back to this.
And took the contract.
Yeah. So I was like, okay. I was like, no, that's fine.
I wonder if someone sent the trainer in. Go get him. Go
right. So I'm sitting there. So I got home, and I was just like, I don't want it. I'm good.
Yeah.
I was like,
if they're not 100%, I don't need to be like.
Well, for that one, they wanted me, but I was like, being in Oakland, California, my son is getting older. I want to see them grow up. I missed too much.
Yeah.
I missed a lot already. Yeah. And so we'd have been a 2-hour difference. And then when they go into bed, I'm just getting out of practice and everything. So I was just like, so I just took on coaching him. So I was like, family.
So you just retired?
Just retired. So
it takes a lot of conviction to walk away from even the easy money, one more paycheck. Right. Because it's like, I was talking to my buddy Dustin Poirier about this UFC fighter. Mm-hmm. It's always like, one more fight. Let me get one more. Because, you get a few $1 million for a fight. And then, like, you can also lose your fucking ability to think. Right. Like, this isn't, same thing with the NFL. These are like violent, aggressive jobs. You get paid a lot of money for a reason. Right. And at some point, it's hard to shut it down. Like you saw with Dustin, he went to the airport, got shit-faced drunk, and, was like, it's going to be bad. Oh, yeah. And you're like...
And them suckers had to think about it.
Yeah. and I feel bad. Like, Dustin's a really good friend of mine. I've been talking to him every single day since it's happened. And, it's very difficult to walk away. Did you struggle with the decision to leave? Because up to this point, you're a football player. That's right. You know what? So it was God's plan, man. Yeah. I truly believe like God shut it down for a reason. Yeah. And so for me, looking back on it, I'm like, I needed to be home. I needed to learn about me. I needed to learn and understand my wife. I needed to learn the things to do and not to do. I needed to learn that this wasn't all about me, right? Yeah. And so at first, I was like, man, like I miss the Sunday's action. I miss the preparation of everything, right? Because I love that. It was just one of those things where I quickly found family and doing things the right way, at home and being that rock for my family. I quickly found like, dude, like this is what I wanted. Yeah. Because I saw, what I missed growing up. Yeah. And how I wanted my home to be. And so, I was just like, dude, like, I want to be the best husband that I can be. Yeah. I want to be the best father that I could be. And so that meant getting things in order with my wife, with my children, with a home, and understanding and having something that they can look back and not look back and hate. Yeah. Or dislike something, right? Like everything's not gonna be whatever, but I didn't want that for them at all. Yeah. So, I thank God, bro, because, for me, it's just one of the things where I got an opportunity to just learn. Yeah. And understand. But then I also saw my gift, right? My gift was teaching, coaching, training, right? So when I went into training, Jalen Ramsey was my first client. Oh, really?
Yeah, he was my first client.
I didn't realize you were training. I've seen you obviously training people at the track like a freaking savage every day when it's 120 degrees. There's only two lunatics out here, me and you. Yep.
So dude, like when I remember when I walked away from the game,
Jalen Ramsey, a bad boy.
Yeah, came out of Florida State. I remember getting a phone call, and it was his dad. He was like, Lamont called me and said, hey, he's like, Bernard, my son is leaving early from Florida State. He said he's going to be here at the start of December. He said, can you have him up into draft day? I said, I'll get him. So, when I worked with a couple players before that, but, and I fell in love with it.
Yeah.
And when I got Jalen, it was just like breaking everything down for him and for him to understand what you can and can't do in the National Football League. After the first or second day of me working with him, I remember calling my buddy. I said, dude, this is going to be $100 million cornerback. And I said, it's not even close.
He's incredible.
I was like, he is incredible. And
how does that work? So a guy calls you, they want to train with you, they come and stay in Nashville and you train with them every day?
So they lived here. They're from here.
But let's say someone's in Texas and they say, I'm going to go train with Bernard. What happens? They come get a place to stay?
Yep, they will come get a place to stay, or I'll connect them to a realtor. They figure out, can they get a spot here? Does it make sense? Or do they just stay in a hotel, right? Yep. So, from draft, if you're going try to go to the draft or you're getting ready for camp or whatever it may be, you will stay at wherever you stand, but then we will meet 3 to 4 days a week, and I'm just breaking all of your movement down and just kind of retraining you, physically, but then also mentally. Because, for Jalen, we did field work, we did board work, we did understanding of what to do, the mental side of things. Yeah. And so that's the love. Like I said, I fell in love, but then I quickly, because I always would say my gift was football. Yeah. My gift's not football. Yeah. My gift is training, teaching, and developing players. Yeah. My talent was football. Yeah. And so, I would do that if I didn't get paid, right? Yeah. And that's when they say that's when that's your gift. That's exactly right. Because you would do it and you wouldn't get paid. And I love it.
Have you ever considered opening like a facility, like a D1 type facility here, and just having like high-end NFL prospects coming through and just like your own dedicated space?
So I've thought about that. I definitely want that. We chopped some numbers up on it, but we got to look at the return of everything, of right? Course. And where we live, bro, dirt ain't cheap. No. And so, I got a couple really good ideas that I want to do. My daughter's in the softball world, and she is a freaking animal. I know. So, I'm looking at a few things, but I want to open up a facility.
We're going to talk about this offline because I got some ideas, and I love that stuff. Yeah. That's like you. I'm like, I would do this stuff for free. Mm-hmm. If you could figure out a way just to break even initially, and then figure out, okay, we could put some pieces in place. Because you got so much talent here. I mean, they got that tight end university. These guys all come train in the summer. There's so many people live here, professional athletes. This place is just a hotbed of athletes.
Yes, sir.
And it's a good place to live. And it's a great place to raise a family. When you were playing and then you were home full time, how did your relationship with your wife go? Did it get better when you got home, or was there an adjustment period? Because sometimes, like my wife, if I'm away for a while and I come home and she gets angry at me, she'll be like, it's easier when you're not here. And I'm like, it really hurt, but at the same time, like, I get it, because now all of a sudden Dad's home and he's like, who left this here? Right. But my wife might be like, hey guys, come clean this up, which is a much better approach than me being like kicking the ball down into the field because they left it in the driveway again. Yeah. How did that go?
So that was, I think, my wife is an introvert. Megan is an introvert.
She's very reserved.
Very reserved. And so when I come home, she can't wait. Cause she like, I could tell you everything that happened. Yeah. And so, and she, we've known each other. We've been with each other since we were 14.
Oh, really?
So,
you knew her in
we went to high school. We went to high school together. Yeah. So she played volleyball.
I didn't realize that. So you were in high school together. She went to...
She's from Fort Wayne, went to Southside High School with me, played volleyball.
And then she went to a different college. Yep. But you were dating throughout high school?
Yeah, so we were off and on.
Okay.
And, throughout college, that's when we just we really was just like, all right, come on, let's just do this thing. Yeah. So, I've known her since I was 14 years old. Yeah. She was my outlet. Yeah. She lived riding a bike 7 to 10 minutes from me. Yeah. Right? And so, when I went and hung out with her, I was at peace. Yeah. And so...
And how was her family? Were they like, she had come from like a more like traditional family?
So her mom and dad was never together. Okay. She lived with her mom. Okay. Her sister was a Division I volleyball player who was an absolute phenom. Her brother, super duper smart, 10 years older than her. So it was just 3 of them. Okay. And, by the time, her sister was a senior our freshman year. So when she graduated, she went to play volleyball in college. Yeah. So, it was just, Megan was just by herself. So she always worked, always played volleyball, ran track. So it was just one of those things, man, where we just we know each other so well.
Yeah.
But, you know, when I retire and being at home every day, you know, for me, I think it was more or less, I had to learn how to be a man.
Yeah.
I had to learn how to love her the right way. I had to learn how to listen to her the right way. I had to learn all of those things because I thought I was doing that, but I wasn't. And so, you know, when everything, you know, I think, you know, after having our fourth child, Jordan, you know, it's just one of those things where I had to be up and honest, you know, about, you know, just all kind of like, yo, babe, I didn't tell you this, or hey, I got to talk to you about all of this. I got to be open about this, and I spent money here, and you know what I mean? Like, so it was just like, I couldn't run a house where, you know, I made the money, I can do whatever I want to do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
I know
it was
it's
just,
exactly what you mean.
So it was just like, you know, now we are at that place where she knows everything.
Yeah.
She, like, I don't got to come in the house, like I tell people all the time. She know my passcodes to everything. I can set my phone down and I had to worry about nothing.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like, and so
I know exactly what you mean.
Like, we're just, you know, we are at a place, and I'm still a little rough around the edges when it comes to the kids, because I am, you know, more of, hey, wash them dishes.
Yeah.
Like, we don't use a dishwasher in our house.
Yeah.
We got 10 fingers, 2 hands.
That's right.
Wash them dishes.
Dude, same head count in my house. I always say to the kids, I'm like, if you don't put your shit away, guess what? So what? I'm going to do it. I do my own stuff.
Right.
If you do your own stuff, we're all good. I'm not asking you to do communal. I'm saying everyone do their own dishes. And we do use the dishwasher. So all you have to do is put it in there and rinse it off before you do it. Don't put a half a plate of spaghetti in there, because now I've already replaced it twice.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Dude.
So it's like, but I will tell you one thing that has been refreshing about moving here for us. Obviously, I have an adopted daughter is black. And, you know, coming here, one of my concerns is like, I don't want her to be the girl who goes to school in college and and the other black kids are like, where the fuck did this black girl come from? She don't know any culture. She don't know, she doesn't, right? So when we came here, I will tell you, the people here, the black families have been like unbelievably welcoming, like the Quarles, the Walkers, like Rand and his wife, Rand Carthon, they invite us to everything, because I see last year I was at the Ravenwood game and I see Rand's daughter, who was one of the trainers for the managers of the football team. So I'm standing in the stands by myself and she comes up and I'm like, hey, where's your dad? She's like, oh, he's out in the parking lot. I'm like, oh, have you seen Derek Quarles? She goes, he's out there too. They're having a tailgate. I go, who's having a tailgate? No one told me. I go, who organized it? She goes,
the Black Alliance.
The black people. And I was like, what the? I go, are they discriminating against me? So then, of course, I teased them, and then they started inviting me to everything. But it was like, when I tell people, like, those high school tailgates are so great, they invite everyone, they invite us to everything. And they look out for my daughter. And Rand's wife came over one time. She said to my daughter, hey, if any of these black kids, the black boys in this crew, if they don't say hi to you at the high school, you come and tell me.
Oh, yeah.
They know to look out for each other. It was so refreshing to just be like, that's how it should be. You should be like, yo. So that's I try to tell
I tell my players all the time, y'all better welcome everybody. And I come from that. Welcome everybody. Like, you know, but I remember we talked at the fish fry.
Yes. You know how it is. I just worry about my kids, especially my daughter, about, you know, it's like, she's for a while she struggled with it. She didn't like being different. And I think she's starting to find her groove now, though. And I always ask her, like, hey, everything good? And she's like, Dad, please, nothing about race, please. I'm like, all right, just checking in. If you have any problems, come talk to me.
You got to.
And that's what I said to her. I said, I'm going to keep checking in so get used to it. But she's like, oh, Dad, no, okay, I see there's another black girl here with nice hair. Great. Because I'd be like, oh, look at that girl. See how she...
That's the same with my daughter, because I mean they're the minority. They're the minority, and you got to check up on them.
That's right, and I feel like super protective of her because I don't think she'll tell me. And then she's like, "Yeah, so and so was making some like racial references on the bus." I'm like, "Whoa, what?" And then she's like, And then my wife's like, "They don't want to tell you." She's like, "My wife's like, she's got it. She'll handle it." I'm like, well, I'm not going to play in any racial games.
I don't play no games.
No.
I flip this thing upside down. So,
But that's one of the greatest things about living here is like how diverse, friendly, and welcoming everyone has been. It's been incredible. And I really appreciate you coming and doing this and sharing all your wisdom and thoughts and emotions. And it's been a real privilege getting to know you, man. And I really appreciate you. And a lot of respect for the way you raise your children and get involved and coach them up.
Always.
That's what I see you at the track. Coach them up.
Yes, sir. That's all I know to do.
Thanks, man. Well, thanks, guys, for being with us. Appreciate you guys. Shout out to Roca, presenting sponsor, best eyeglasses in the world. Please like and subscribe. Boom. All right, guys. I hope you enjoyed that conversation as much as I did. Please take a quick minute to subscribe to the podcast wherever you're listening. This is a new show, so subscribing makes a huge difference. Please also take a minute to give it a review and leave a comment on Apple Podcasts and on Spotify. You can also subscribe and leave a comment on YouTube. Again, this is really important for us, especially now since we're just getting started. Please also check out all of our sponsors. They make the show possible, and honestly, I love and use every single product we talk about on the show. You can learn more about me, this podcast, and also find links to purchase my upcoming memoir at theothersideofhard.com. My new book is called Everything You Want Is on the Other Side of Hard, and it comes out March 10th, available everywhere you buy books. Or again, go into theothersideofhard.com. There's multiple links there where you can find all the retailers carrying the book. Thanks a lot for being with us, and we'll see you next week.